Chapter 679. Golden and mysterious Emperor's seals appeared on his body, intertwining into something similar to a flesh fetus divine armor, protecting his internal and external defenses. Watch, please move. Inside his dantian, the Emperor's seals wrapped around the golden core origin, turning the golden core origin that belonged to Seven-Star Child's avatar into a golden core full of Emperor's seals. Many of the Golden Emperor's seals directly melted the Great Emperor Dipper's golden core and then merged with the golden core origin. This way, the golden core origin became the main space to cultivate the Divine Emperor Divine Origin scripture. The golden core origin came from Seven-Star Child and merged with the Black Lotus True Body and Wu-Tan Realm's origin. It was inseparable from Su Fang. When the golden core shattered, Su Fang had no choice but to become a Void One, who knew that after continuous cultivation, he could cultivate without a golden core. Ever since he obtained Seven-Star Child's golden core origin, he had never completely merged it with his dantian. It was a kind of energy space. Now, it came in handy to cultivate the way of the Emperor. After cultivating the Divine Emperor Divine Origin scripture, the golden core origin was full of Emperor's seals, and an Emperor's chi was constantly condensing. The aura of the golden core contained supreme dominance and sovereign aura. Especially the sovereign aura, it was as if the golden core origin was going to become the only energy world through the 7 yang veins, the purple cloud Dharma spirit, the dragon-taming wood, the left arm, and even the body. This Emperor's chi, as Su Fang continued to cultivate the Divine Emperor Divine Origin scripture, the Emperor's seals condensed in the meridians and gradually went down. His meridians and flesh would be surrounded by the Emperor's seals in the future. After a long time of research and cultivation, he also found that the Emperor's seals were not just power, but also a kind of natural defense. In this regard, it was similar to the flesh fetus divine armor. Everyone's strength is increasing. With the immortal's blood essence, immortal spiritual energy, and yang energy, the 9 great experts, the 10,000 experts, and all the junior commanders' strength is gradually increasing. Only life essence has not recovered, and the 8th yang vein is about to reach major completion. I have to start discussing with Senior Pring King how to leave this place. In the blink of an eye, 8 years had passed since they entered the immortal trapping formation. Su Fang, who was at his peak, only had some white rings on his head. As he cultivated, he secretly communicated with the Green Feather King about how to leave the Tao artifact space. At this moment, in the vast galaxy outside the Zhuotian realm, in the vast and dark starry sky, some meteorites slowly brushed past the Zhuotian realm. There was an immortal formation inside the meteorite. Pa! Lowly slave, you can't even do something as simple as serving tea and water. What use do I have for you? Within the spell formation, the stone golem in the form of a middle-aged man wielded a chain in one hand and a whip in the other. The whip lashed out at Lan Haiqing, causing his skin to split open. Just because Lan Haiqing knocked over the teapot, he was tortured like a pig by the stone golem. Not far away, Seven-Star Child sat in the center of the immortal array. A woman stood in front of him. She was Huang Lingyao, a disciple of the immortal bestowment sect. Huang Lingyao glanced at Lan Haiqing from the corner of her eyes. Lan Haiqing's eyes were full of indifference as he was being tortured by the stone monster. He was probably still proud of himself. This was the consequence of being disloyal to her. After a while, Seven-Star Child suddenly asked, "There's no movement from the Immortal Sealing School either. It's been almost 10 years since the deal between the Zunv Pavilion and Su Fang. The Immortal Sealing School didn't receive any movement from the elders. I think Su Fang is still imprisoned in the Xianjia Gate." Huang Lingyao replied, "Even if he has the ability to fly this time, he can't escape the pursuit of the Zunv Pavilion, the Immortal Sealing School, and the Green Lotus Sword sect. I heard that tens of thousands of experts entered the Xianjia Gate to deal with him. Those people all want the Xianjia Gate." Although the Tao artifact is powerful, not everyone can move it. Otherwise, I would have already taken the Xianjia Gate back then. The experts of the Green Lotus Sword sect hiding in the Zhuotian realm also didn't receive any movement. The two elders brought a large number of disciples and killed their way into the Xianjia Gate. Capturing Su Fang shouldn't be a problem. Now, let's see when they can leave the Xianjia Gate. Senior, why don't you enter the Zhuotian realm and directly release your senses to secretly spy on the flying immortal island? There's a reason for this. Back then, when the Xianjia Gate descended upon the Zhuotian realm, it attracted the experts and powers of the 8 small worlds to snatch it. Later on, it was Zhuotian Realm Lord who appeared. With the power of a Realm Lord, he slaughtered in all directions. At that time, even I couldn't do anything to him. Now, although I'm an immortal, I don't want to easily fight with a Realm Lord unless I immediately know about the Xianjia Gate. Once I have the chance to obtain the Xianjia Gate, I will immediately kill my way into the Zhuotian realm. Even Zhuotian Realm Lord can't stop me. Senior's divine might is unparalleled. You have the desolate body and are considered a genius in the outside world. As long as you work for me and listen to me, you will smoothly enter the outside world. This time, I came down to the outside world to guide some experts and help them ascend to the outside world with me. Also, you have to understand that not every immortal can descend just because they want to. Junior will loyally work for Senior and strive to be lucky enough to become one of them. Immediately communicate with the Celestial Sealing Sect. If there's any news about the Su Fang or the Xianjia Gate, inform me. With Junior's identity, it's not difficult to find out about this. Huang Lingyao respectfully activated the rune talisman in front of 7-Star Child's divine might and asked about the flying immortal island through her connections in the Celestial Sealing Sect. 7-Star Child was probably also releasing his senses, but he didn't want to alarm Realm Lord Zhuotian now. Fighting with a Realm Lord, even an immortal, was not worth the loss. Zhuotian Realm, Outer Realm Islands. In the depths of the flying immortal island, in the mysterious natural barrier surrounding the Xianjia Gate. A barrier was hidden in the depths of the jungle 10 miles away from the Xianjia Gate. Yuan Tianzong and Elder Ling Shuo, together with a few masters of the Immortal Sealing Sect, were staring at the immortal light floating faintly in the clouds in the distance. Elder Ling Shuo shook his head and glanced at the crowd. 10 years have passed and there's still no news. Our experts in the immortal array outside the Tao artifact can't detect any movement. Yuan Tianzong stood with his hands behind his back and nodded slightly. Don't worry. The Xianjia Gate is not an ordinary Tao artifact. It's shocking. Can ordinary people escape from it? Now let's see which faction caught Su Fang and left the Xianjia Gate first. Not only our Celestial Sealing Sect, but other factions are also secretly watching from the outside. Once there's any movement, a massacre will be immediately set off to fight for the Xianjia Gate. If someone really escapes from the immortal array inside the Xianjia Gate, then a large number of factions and cultivators from the flying immortal island will come to snatch it. It will indeed set off a bloody storm. An old man nodded with a cold expression. On the other side of the natural barrier, there was also a hidden barrier with hundreds of experts from the Xinyuan Empire inside. A middle-aged man in a golden python robe, sitting on a dragon throne, was releasing his senses to the experts around him. He was also staring at every movement of the Xianjia Gate. A young nascent soul broke through the air and appeared in front of the man. Marquis, we have been waiting in the immortal array outside the Xianjia Gate for many years, but we still haven't found the aura of General Guang Zhao and the others. The other factions haven't gained anything either. Many of their experts are waiting in the immortal array outside. The man waved his hand majestically. Pass down the order. If there's any movement, don't act rashly. This isn't the primordial god world. If those factions join forces to deal with us, I'm not sure I can leave alive. Marquis Qin Yuanhohe was a marquis of the Xinyuan Empire, who controlled a large number of troops. He was only second to the Marquis of the Four Directions. Just like the Celestial Sealing Sect, the Zunv Pavilion, the Supreme God Sect, and the Green Lotus Sword Sect, Marquis Qin Yuanho was secretly waiting for the Xianjia Gates movement. Countless cultivators and factions were waiting for someone to come out of the Xianjia Gate alive and then take action to snatch the Xianjia Gate. Outside the flying immortal island where the Xianjia Gate was located, cultivators suddenly appeared in the sky above the extraterritorial island. There were dozens of black-clothed cultivators. Each of them was as cold as a Dharma treasure. They didn't have any aura. At first glance, it was obvious that they weren't living people. They should be puppets, just not ordinary puppet Dharma treasures. A few more cultivators with life auras and extremely powerful auras appeared. They seemed to have come to the sky from below the flying immortal island. Then, they floated quietly as if waiting for someone. After about a dozen breaths, a mysterious cultivator in a black cloak arrived on the cloud. He didn't emit any aura as he shuttled through space. This cultivator was about 40 years old. He had thunderous eyebrows and starry eyes. His cheekbones were protruding, and there were a few sharp vertical lines on both sides of his face. His black hair was tied into a 3-layered round bun. An aura of a ruler naturally seeped out from his skin, eyes, and even the corners of his clothes. A few cultivators who arrived here first immediately knelt down in front of the black-clothed man. "Greetings, Lord." The man named Lord asked faintly, "Have you found out the reason?" Lord, this time, the big commotion in the extraterritorial islands affected the entire Zhuotian realm, as well as many small worlds outside our Zhuotian realm. It was caused by a cultivator named Su Fang and Zunv Pavilion. This cultivator named Su Fang was once a disciple of the Celestial Sealing Sect. Rumor has it that 100 years ago, he successfully escaped from the Xianjia Gate with an elder of the Celestial Sealing Sect. This incident exploded because of this reason. Zunv Pavilion first made an agreement with this person to meet in the immortal array inside the Xianjia Gate. I reckon that Zunv Pavilion wants to capture Su Fang or cooperate with him to enter the Xianjia Gate to explore the secrets of the Tao artifact. This news spread in the Zhuotian realm and spread to other small worlds, causing various forces to quietly come to our Zhuotian realm. Subordinate and the others have also found out that many forces have tens of thousands of cultivators chasing after that cultivator named Su Fang. They have already entered the immortal array space inside the Xianjia Gate. It has already been 10 years. Currently, a large number of cultivators are waiting for news outside the immortal array. I reckon that once someone comes out of the Xianjia Gate alive, there will immediately be a massacre to fight for the Xianjia Gate. A few experts successively reported to the black-robed man who was surrounded by some black cloud. After the man heard this, he stroked his chin. Everyone wants to get the Xianjia Gate, but they don't know that it is the property of our Zhuotian realm. How can we let outsiders get it? Especially the forces of the Wu-Tan realm, Qilian Star, Beichen Zone, and even the immortal primordial realm and the primordial god realm have all infiltrated. Lord, since we have already taken control of everything, what next? The expert cupped his fists and asked. The Zhuotian realm has been in turmoil several times because of the Xianjia Gate. Especially this time, a large number of other small worlds have infiltrated. If our Zhuotian realm remains silent, there will be even more forces who will be unscrupulous in the future. Immediately cast a barrier and seal the extraterritorial islands. The entire seal. That's right. We have complete control of this island continent. Only then can we show the might of our Zhuotian realm and make those external forces not dare to have any ideas about our Zhuotian realm in the future. Yes, Lord. A few experts instantly flew in different directions towards the extraterritorial island. Only the black-robed man and the ice-cold puppets were left in the sky. The black-robed man, who was surrounded by black clouds, cast runes one after another and sent them into the puppets' bodies. These puppets were like living people as they flew towards the extraterritorial island. Last time, an immortal secretly infiltrated our Zhuotian realm. If there really is an immortal, I will not give him any face. He is already an immortal. Why would he come down to the mortal realm to covet the treasures of the mortal realm? Is he so narrow-minded and knowledgeable? He revealed a look of disdain and disappeared in the blink of an eye. 9 True. Chapter 680. And the limitless Tao Artxianjia Gate. In the depths of the immortal Array world. Deep in the canyon, the peerless expert Green Feather King was controlling the immortal spirit Qi outside the barrier. After controlling it, the immortal spirit Qi reached a level that mortals could withstand, then it flowed into the barrier and was absorbed by Su Fang and the other experts. Inside the barrier, from Su Fang's eyes to his chin and chest, a golden aura would appear from time to time. He was still cultivating the Saint Emperor Divine Origin scripture. Naturally, it was not to pursue the legendary Tao of the Emperor, but to control the power of the Divine Origin Empire so that he could deal with powerful enemies in the future. The 9 experts around him kept absorbing the immortal spirit Qi, and with the help of the immortal's blood and Yang Qi, they were shocked to find that they could cultivate inside the Xianjia Gate without being shackled. No cultivator could absorb any Qi once they entered the Xianjia Gate, and they would be shackled by the deity Array and be possessed by its power. The 9 experts' strength had increased significantly after 10 years of cultivation. Even Elder Zhang Feng and Elder Bronze had reached the level of Heartless Granny. On the other side, Su Yaotian and the 9 segments Earth Dragon were absorbing the power of the immortals and merging the 2 Tao artifacts. Originally, cultivators couldn't break through in the Xianjia Gate because they couldn't summon the Heavenly Tribulation. The Heavenly Tribulation couldn't enter the Xianjia Gate from the small world, so once they entered the Tao artifact world, their cultivation would never be able to break through. But cultivators below the imperishable and undead realm could deceive the Heavenly Tribulation and break through first, then go through the tribulation after leaving the Tao artifact world. As for the catastrophe realm cultivators above the imperishable realm, they couldn't break through without going through the tribulation because the catastrophe was too powerful. It was possible to break through the barrier by force, but one day, when they left the Tao artifact world, the catastrophe would be extremely terrifying and probably no one could survive it. Su Yaotian's level wasn't high and he was entering the undead realm, so he could break through first and then go through the tribulation after going out. But even so, he couldn't break through too many levels without going through the tribulation. He couldn't break through after 7 or 8 steps at most. There's finally a bit of Emperor Qi. At this moment, Su Fang, who had forgotten everything while cultivating, suddenly opened his eyes. He stared at the golden core origin in his body. In the depths of the golden core world, there was a golden ball formed by the Emperor's seal. This golden ball was the Emperor's Qi that Su Fang had painstakingly cultivated. The level of true Qi within this ball was something that not even a vast core realm cultivator could compare with. I'm not an emperor, and I've just obtained the Emperor's physique. Cultivating the sacred Emperor Divine Origin scripture is too slow. If I can capture a prince or prince of the Xinyuan Empire and directly absorb their true Qi, blood, and golden cores, wouldn't that be the same as directly increasing my Emperor's Qi? Xinyuan Empire, you won't be proud for long. The Renhuang world belongs to me. Let's see how I take it from your hands. Su Fang breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at his own appearance, he found that he was still in his 20s, except for some graying on his head. Presumably, only by breaking through to the 8th level of catastrophe would he be able to fully recover. Seeing everyone's cultivation progress, he was very satisfied. He entered the divine aspect jade again. In the space inside the jade annulus, he understood the cultivation situation of the 10,000 venerables, including nearly 1,000 junior commanders in Xianhuang's 6 Paths Pagoda. After that, he began to deduce the ethereal enlightenment. An immortal light appeared in the palm of his left hand. He was activating the divine aspect jade. After a while, the immortal light formed a circular state. Suddenly, a finger-sized figure of Su Fong appeared on the surface. This was a figure formed by Su Fong's true qi. Under the explosion of the divine aspect jade, Su Fong fused the ethereal enlightenment that he had comprehended with Yu Er's ability. The figure in the immortal light was performing the fire cloud fist technique formed by the illusory fire cloud. The figure struck out one fire cloud fist technique after another. It was like a fire dragon pouncing out and a dragon swinging its tail. It felt like this scene was back to the family Su ancient temple, when he was facing the vine pillar and silently practicing martial arts alone. However, the fire cloud fist technique that the figure was deducing was not at the level of martial arts in the past. It was a supreme divine ability that could completely destroy Tianzong City with just one punch. The figure in the immortal light struck out fire cloud fist technique after fire cloud fist technique intertwined. Then, on the other side, another figure of Su Fong appeared. It was also a figure. This figure was using a divine ability from the Holy Emperor Divine Origin Scripture, the Sacred Sovereign Fist. The Fire Cloud Fist technique immediately clashed with the Sacred Sovereign Fist. Under Yu Er's control, the strength of the two figures was at a certain level. Su Fong could not hear any killing momentum of the fist techniques, but he could feel how powerful the fist techniques released by the two figures were. On the other hand, the figure who executed the flaming cloud fist was infused with the ethereal quintessence. With a series of fist afterimages, the figure who executed the flaming cloud fist clashed with the holy venerate's fist. Little did he know that when the two fists clashed, the illusory figure of the flaming cloud fist in the vicinity of the flaming cloud fist suddenly transformed into a ferocious fist. Catching the figure before it off guard, it shattered the figure before it. Yu said from within his divine aperture, "Master, the ethereal true scripture's Tao of the ethereal true scripture is truly wondrous. It can allow the divine energy within a divine ability to freely switch between ethereal and corporeal. When fighting with an enemy, it might seem like a fierce attack, but through that exchange, it can shift the divine ability to the periphery and suddenly attack the enemy. I've used this kind of attack before. When I fought with Aozhen, I heavily injured her. You can use the limitless Taoist art to fight with the ethereal true scripture. No problem. Limitless Taoist art deduce." After the figure that used the Holy Sovereign's fist was shattered by the figure in the fire cloud, another figure of Su Fong appeared. It was still the same fire cloud fist technique, while the other Su Fong used the limitless Taoist art. He split into a dozen clones. The fire cloud fist technique exploded, while the figure using the limitless Taoist art stepped forward. As soon as the two sides started fighting, the figure using the limitless Taoist art displayed an advantage. His clones and true body were hidden. When the fire cloud fist technique arrived, limitless clones were annihilated one by one, but he was also able to counterattack. Although the flaming cloud fist art was fierce, it only destroyed limitless doppelgangers. As more and more doppelgangers appeared, limitless true body finally killed his way to one side. Unexpectedly, Limitless sent out a sword chi, shattering the doppelganger who used the flaming cloud fist art. Yu helplessly said, "Master, this kind of technique deduction is flawed. It seems to be able to display the advantages of the two great techniques, but Yu is deducing true chi without any consciousness. As for the two divine abilities Master is using, they are different. That is the flaw of Yu. Yu doesn't have any life, which means that any technique he deduces is the same." Su Fong smiled. "That's not a problem. I can also see the advantages and disadvantages of the two divine abilities. I'm thinking of how to combine the limitless Taoist art with the ethereal true scripture. That way, the ethereal true scripture will allow limitless clones to not just be mere clones. They will also have true power and divine abilities. Try it. After saying that, the two figures within the immortal light suddenly used the limitless Taoist art. They created a large number of clones. Each of the clones only had a bit of true qi and no life. Under Yu's control, the clones would shatter at the slightest touch, and they wouldn't be able to attack. However, when the ethereal true scripture was added to the clones, they could condense sword qi, fist arts, and even runes and true marks. The clones first grasped true marks, then used them to condense sword qi and various divine abilities. Although it wasn't shocking and was only at the undying realm, it could still be considered a success. I remember that when I fought with Heart Image Student, he only used limitless clones to numb and hide his true body. With the clones as cover, the true body would wait for an opportunity to move. The clones wouldn't be able to use any of the true body's abilities. But it's different now. After the limitless clones are added to the ethereal true scripture, they are able to unleash divine abilities. Master, I'm afraid that you will have to personally fuse them. Only then will you know how effective they are. I'll give it a try. Su Fang stopped cultivating and immediately formed hand seals. 10 limitless clones appeared around him. Elder Tsang Hao from the Doichi was shocked when he saw this. He had no idea why Su Fang was able to use one of the Doichi's consummate divine abilities, the limitless Taoist magic. As soon as the limitless clones appeared, they were bolstered by the ethereal true scripture and fused with the Tao of the ethereal and corporeal, causing the clones to begin performing hand seals. Su Fang was delighted to see this. As for Elder Tsang Hao and Sage King Broad Illumination, they couldn't believe that Yang Qi could cultivate the limitless Taoist magic to this level. After all, the limitless Taoist magic was an immortal class energy art from a major world. It was different from the clones that mortals cultivated, as it was very difficult to cultivate them to the same level as the true self. After some testing, Su Fang decided to focus on fusing the ethereal true scripture with his other divine abilities. It wasn't just the limitless Taoist magic, but also the Heaven Devil Unsealing Seal, the Heaven Bowing Palm Technique, the 7 divine abilities of the House of Immortal Sealing, the Green Lotus Sword Sect, the Sage Emperor God Origin Scripture, and even the colossal Vajra body. Another 5 years passed. All of a sudden, Su Fang sucked everyone into his magical item dimension. At the same time, King Greenfeather arrived at the immortal formation. King Greenfeather's expression flickered. Last time I went to see Bagutu, he refused to see me. He said he was repairing an immortal formation. None of the methods we came up with worked. Bagutu refused to see me, and we couldn't do anything to the immortal formation. Su Fang was so angry that he waved his arm. He's obviously trying to make things difficult for us, Senior. No matter what, we have to get out of here. I'm one of Baguta's guardians, King Greenfeather said. I have a talisman inside of me, so there's no way I can leave the immortal Jia Gate. Even if I did, I'd be shackled by a Tao item. Senior, how could that be possible? If I don't leave with you, what's the point of me coming here? I've already been shackled. Back then, I was suppressed by the immortal sealing gate, and now I'm trapped in the immortal Jia Gate. Since I'm here, I have to break all of this. Since Baguta refuses to see us, I can only think of a way to get him to come out and see us, or find a way to meet with the immortal Jia Gate's artifact spirit. There must be a reason why he was able to let me leave last time. Let's see if I can convince him to let us leave. What if it doesn't work? In short, if I'm the only one who can leave this place, I'd rather stay here or fight to the death with the immortal Jia Gate. It's a Tao item, and I have something that surpasses the Tao item. I want to see. Alright, then I'll fight with you one more time. King Greenfeather's hope was reignited. With a roar, he flew out of the canyon with Su Fang. Seeing the Black Mountain and the immortal palace on top of it, Su Fang was even more anxious to leave this place. If he couldn't leave, then the Heaven Crossing sect would disappear, and the human emperor world would fall into the hands of the Xinyuan Empire. He still had many things to do. It was fine if he died, but the most important thing was that he was still alive. He couldn't live like a walking corpse. When they arrived at the top of the Black Mountain Range, Su Fang suddenly raised his voice. "Ancient Flood Dragon Bagudu, come out and meet me. I hope you can make it convenient for me and the Pring King to leave the Xianjia Gate. I promise you, I swear to the heavens, that I will never step into the Xianjia Gate again." Chapter 681. The majestic voice reverberated through the towering peaks of the Black Mountain Range. Sure enough, the immortal palace was protected by an immortal formation. The demonic chi inside began to erupt. It seemed the flood dragon would charge over at any moment. "You're provoking Ba Gutu." Although Green Feather King didn't say anything, he was startled. He immediately transmitted to Su Fang, "Then with its temper, it might really come out. Senior, if I have to be locked up here forever, I might as well take a gamble. What's the difference between being shackled here and dying? If Ba Gutu wants to let me go, then I'll let him go. If he doesn't, then I'll have to fight him again." Su Fang's eyes were filled with determination as he looked at the floating immortal palace. "If you really want to lock me up here, what do you want?" Finally, Ba Gutu's furious voice came from the immortal palace. "If you don't let me and the Pring King leave, then I can only rely on myself to leave this immortal Zhan Gate. This king is giving you face, but you're still trying to climb over me. This king wants to see how much skill you have. Today, I'll definitely suppress you here." The Black Mountain Range shook. The flood dragon suddenly flew out of the immortal palace. It wasn't in its demonic form, but in its human form. It appeared in the air and coldly stared at Su Fang. Then it glanced at Green Feather King. "Qingping, you have to think clearly. You're already shackled by the immortal formation. It's best if you're on the same side as me. If you become my enemy, you won't be able to defeat me. Even if you're all immortals, you won't be able to touch a single finger of mine." Green Feather King cupped his fists. "I don't want to be your enemy. If you can make it easy for me, then let Su Fang leave. I won't complain about staying here. Master has already given the order that any cultivator that enters the Celestial Gate will be suppressed. No one is an exception. This requires Master's permission, so I can't do anything about it." Ba Gutu's eyes became even more violent. The eyes on his human face gave off a black bronze light. Su Fang understood the other party's intention. "Ancient Flood Dragon, then I can only fight with you and trigger the immortal formation, awakening the will of the Xianjia Gate and make it convenient. Haha, this king will suppress you and take revenge for what happened in the past. If it wasn't for Qingping, you would have died. How dare you be so arrogant? You, Ancient Flood Dragon, are nothing more than a big goblin, a watchdog. If I, Su Fang, really can't leave this place, then I won't live. Ancient Flood Dragon, let me kindly remind you, don't make a mistake like last time. You might even lose your little life." Human brat. A dignified guardian, a supreme flood dragon, was scolded by a human brat. The ancient flood dragon reached out and grabbed at Su Fang. The shackles of the immortal formation turned into a barrier that rushed towards Su Fang. This was the guardian's invincible might within the immortal formation. Su Fang's aura burned as he looked at the immortal formation above and sighed. So powerful! Although we don't have a chance, we should try our best. Even if we fail, we won't regret it. Heaven Lord Soul Sword. Green Feather King activated a Tao artifact's power. A human-shaped sword light. This was the Tao artifact that Su Fang had entered the Xianjia Gate and obtained in Crystal City. Heaven Lord Soul Sword. "Qingping, why are you helping a human?" Ba Gutu, who was controlling the immortal formation, was furious. Green Feather King replied, "I'm not just helping Su Fang. I'm also going to fight, using my faith to fight for hope. I can't be like you, being suppressed here for the rest of my life." Also, without Su Fang, I wouldn't be able to leave this place. But since Su Fang is here, I have to fight for it. Heavenly Dragon Divine Claw. As soon as he finished speaking, Su Fang immediately spread out his arms, spreading them to the left and right. Suddenly, his arms trembled, grabbing out 2 tyrannical claw imprints, fusing with the divine might of a Tao artifact, erupting with astonishing immortal radiance. Heaven Lord Soul Sword, go! Green Feather King summoned Heaven Lord Soul Sword. The ancient flood dragon shook its head coldly. This is the Xianjia Gate. Even if Heaven Lord Soul Sword is 10,000 times stronger than any Tao artifact, it won't be able to defeat the Xianjia Gate. Boom! Boom! Heaven Dragon Divine Claw and Heaven Lord Soul Sword attacked the immortal formation together. The 2 attacks and the immortal formation above were like the end of the world, setting off a destructive chi wave. This chi wave was so powerful in the immortal formation space. If it was in a small world, it would probably turn a continent into dust instantly. Even a planet would have a hole in it. Boom! The chi wave was so terrifying that Su Fang and Green Feather King kept retreating. Su Fang was horrified, but Green Feather King naturally knew how strong the ancient flood dragon was. He suppressed the green demonic aura with immortal light and resisted the chi wave. It's only affecting the immortal formation. Senior, let's escape first. Su Fang released his perfected ability, and felt that the shackles' immortal formation hadn't completely suppressed them. If they didn't leave in time, they would be completely suppressed. After all, a Tao artifact couldn't destroy the immortal formation. No matter how confident Su Fang was, his strength couldn't reach Heaven Lord Soul Sword's level. Demon Transformation. Green Feather King suddenly transformed into his true body. Whoosh! Su Fang flashed and stood on top of Green Feather King's head. Huff! Huff! Huge green wings flapped. Green Feather King carried Su Fang and instantly flew forward. In less than 2 breaths, before the chi wave was crushed by the immortal formation, Su Fang felt that they had left the shackles' space. Senior, your speed is almost the same as when you were in a small world. Because I have the immortal formation shackles runes on me, I am not shackled by this immortal formation space. If I wasn't a guardian, it would be a miracle if I could reach 1/3 of this speed. Green Pring spreads its wings like a green mountain. It leaped into the sky of the immortal formation. Little did Su Fang know that when he looked forward, he saw the ancient flood dragon flying out and blocking their way. The flood dragon waved its hand again. I don't even need to do anything. I can use the immortal formation's power to suppress you. Even immortals can't do anything here. This time, I will let you know the true power of the shackles. Immortal formation descend. The ancient flood dragon heard Su Fang's anger boiled. Only the weak will scream, right? It's a pity that you are a genius and have methods. It's a pity that you are not an immortal. It's a pity that you are not an immortal. It's a pity that you are not a peerless great immortal in a large world. If you become a peerless great immortal one day, and have a peerless Tao artifact comparable to Xianjia's Gate, you might be able to surpass me. But now, you and the Rock King will be shackled by the immortal formation and stay here forever. As the ancient flood dragon finished speaking, an immortal formation boundary exploded in front of, around, and above Green Feather King with lightning speed. It came from all directions. At this moment, Su Fang truly saw the power of the immortal formation inside Xianjia's Gate. In such a short time, he and Green Feather King were surrounded by the immortal formation. Heaven Lord Soul Sword, Rock Spreading Wings. Green Feather King actually didn't want to be suppressed forever. His body shook up and down. As his giant wings flapped, he opened his mouth and spat out a sword light. It was like a sword light formed by an immortal, breaking through the air. Under the green demonic light, the demonic light and Heaven Lord Soul Sword hit the immortal formation that hadn't fully formed. Bang! A low, heavy impact divine power started to penetrate and extend inside the immortal formation as Heaven Lord's soul sword hit it. This attack was almost the same as an immortal's attack. Even heartless Granny would be killed. Even if there were a few more heartless Grannies, they would be crushed by Heaven Lord's soul sword and the demonic light. Su Fang's heart trembled. He immediately cooperated with Green Feather King and activated the Divine Image Jade Annulus, using the Tao artifact's power to support Green Feather King's body. Green Feather King sucked Heaven Lord's soul sword back and used another rock spreading wings. Together with the Divine Image Jade Annulus, he pushed Heaven Lord's soul sword to attack the immortal formation again. The ancient flood dragon suddenly frowned. This power is not bad, but it's useless in front of the Xianjia Gate. This is what despair means. This is why even this king has to stay here and be a guardian. This king isn't willing to be suppressed here, but this is the reality. Even if you die, your soul can't leave. Kid, you dare to be arrogant in front of me? This is your end. The result was as it said. 2 Tao artifacts, together with Su Fang and Green Feather King's demonic power, the 4 forces only shook the immortal formation. The immortal formation didn't break at all. Even its luster wasn't affected. Yu'er was also stunned. And Master, this Xianjia Gate is probably stronger than Yunxiao's lightning sword. No matter how many Tao artifacts you have, you can't shake it. If you keep attacking like this, not only will you not be able to destroy the immortal formation, but you'll also use up a lot of your power to activate the Tao artifact. Yu'er is right. I was planning to activate my life's power and get all the junior commanders to support me. If it really doesn't work, I'll get the magic power of tens of thousands of experts to support me. Su Fang's face darkened. 2 Tao artifacts can't shake the immortal formation at all. Even if I extract their power, it's useless. Green Feather King was furious. Kid, you're giving up? Su Fang shook his head. No, I'm not giving up. I'm saving my power to activate the Origin Sacred Mirror. Tao artifacts won't work and we're not immortals. We can only rely on magic treasures. This is my last trump card since I dared to break into the Xianjia Gate. Didn't you say you can't activate that strange magic treasure? Green Feather King stopped flapping his wings after knowing Su Fang's plan. I can't, but if I don't activate it, no one knows what the result will be. Alright, let's give it a try. Green Feather King immediately turned into his human form and stood next to Su Fang. Ba Gutta stood outside the immortal formation and said, Green Pring, your choice this time will cause you to be shackled in the immortal formation forever. This king won't give you any freedom. When did I ever have freedom? Ba Gutta mocked himself. Su Fang sat down coldly. Ancient Flood Dragon, don't be smug. Since you don't want to communicate with the Tao artifact's origin spirit, I can only try my own method. Ancient Flood Dragon was disdainful. You're just a mortal. How can you surpass immortals? Xianjia Gate has always been sleeping and won't wake up easily. The immortal formation inside is controlled by many guardians. Without this king's permission, you won't have a chance to awaken the origin spirit. Come out. Ba Gutta spread his hands, palms facing up. Buzz. An ancient mirror, a magic treasure with nothing special about it, immediately floated between his palms. Ancient Flood Dragon's expression suddenly changed. That's the strange magic treasure that burned me last time. I still haven't fully recovered. Su Fang activated a large amount of 9 Yang True Qi and poured it into the mirror. This was the first time he had placed all his hopes on the ancient mirror ever since he had obtained the immemorial sacred mirror. A large amount of 9 Yang genuine Qi immediately caused the immemorial sacred mirror to emit a red glow. This should also be an ancient Tao artifact. It can surpass many Tao artifacts. But you're just a mortal. How much of its power can you use? I don't know, but I really want to see. Haha, where did a mortal like you get such a confident smile? Because I want to live. I want to leave this place alive. In the face of ancient flood dragon's divine might, Su Fang didn't lower his head. He activated the mirror with all his strength. Chapter 682. Everyone is afraid of death if they want to live. But you're here today. Even if you don't want to die, you'll still die here. Look, please move. What do you mean by a great world? Any material or force there is enough to kill a mortal. Just you and a Dharma artifact are enough. Even an immortal formation can't move your artifact. The ancient serpent was not happy. Su Fang was still being so presumptuous even after being suppressed by him. He was going to see Su Fang being suppressed with his own eyes. Only then would he be able to vent his anger. Serpent, watch carefully. After injecting a large amount of 9 yang qi, Su Fang could feel the yang energy in his 7 yang meridians vanishing. Even his 8th yang meridian was drying up. In order to survive, he had no time to think about it. The tiger roar shook, and he needed to inject more 9 yang genuine qi into the Hunyuan holy mirror, because he still felt that the ancient mirror was as vast as the sea, boundless and endless. Since he wanted to activate it, he had to release the ancient mirror's divine power in one go. Buzz buzz. The ancient mirror that had absorbed a lot of 9 yang qi suddenly emitted a wisp of 9 yin qi. 9 yin qi could it be? His eyes suddenly glittered. He immediately separated his young nascent soul and entered the time immemorial sacred mirror. As soon as he entered, he could feel a strong 9 yin qi coming from the ancient mirror. Meanwhile, he was still unable to move in the mysterious space of the scarlet ancient mirror. It was 10,000 times scarier than the Xianjia Gate's immortal formation. At least he could still walk or even fly slowly in the world of the Xianjia Gate's immortal formation. As he was searching for the 9 yin qi, a familiar yet unfamiliar voice of a woman could be heard. Kid, you're quite alert. You've come so quickly. Senior's aura is special. The ancient mirror is able to sense it very quickly. Junior's strength is not enough, so I'm able to enter the space. I was cultivating in the void. I sensed a large amount of your yang qi entering the ancient mirror, so I came to check it out. After all, it's your first time using the ancient mirror. Is there a danger you can't handle? I was trapped inside a Tao item. I'm only at the 7th level of the Calamity Realm, not an immortal. I can't fight against Tao items, so I can only think of using the Origin Sacred Mirror to break them. So that's how it is. Your way of thinking is correct. You are immortal. Even a broken Tao artifact is as deep as the sky before you. This Tao artifact is very extraordinary. It is even more powerful than the Cloud Sky Lightning Sword, one of the 10 great Tao artifacts of a major world. Cloud Sky Lightning Sword? It does seem to be a rather famous Tao artifact in this great world. I am very curious. What is the origin of the Tao artifact that trapped you? The mysterious woman's voice fluctuated slightly. Obviously, she knew about Yunxiao's Thunder Sword, and Su Fang thought that maybe the mysterious woman really knew about Xianjia's gate. He was eager to know the answer. He held his breath and said, "This Tao artifact is called the Immortal Jia's Door." Xianjia's gate? So it's an ancient magic treasure. He did not expect the mysterious woman to know about Xianjia's gate. Su Fang was very curious. This Tao artifact is very mysterious. Senior, do you know its origin? Xianjia's gate is an ancient Tao artifact. It has existed for a very long time. In that era, it was known as one of the 10 great Tao artifacts. What kind of Tao artifact is it? When you collect the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit, the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit's origin spirit will tell you the origin of Xianjia's gate. The Purple Qi Dharma Spirit is also so powerful. Su Fang was very shocked. He looked at his right hand. How did he not know that the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit was so powerful? The mysterious woman said with certainty, "Of course, the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit is also an ancient magic treasure. It is just that it has always been in a deep sleep. Because you don't have the whole body, the purple Chi Dharma spirit's origin spirit is also in a deep sleep. Let's not talk about this. You will know in the future. Since it is Xianjia's gate, it does require a bit of effort. However, you can rest assured that Xianjia's gate is not worth mentioning in front of the ancient mirror. Su Fang stammered and found it difficult to speak. That's good. However, I am not very confident. You are worried that you are not strong enough to activate the origin sacred realm. Senior is very perceptive. You can rest assured about this. Since Xianjia's gate is in a small world, it means that the origin spirit should be in a deep sleep from time to time. Once you activate the origin sacred realm, it will soon sense it and let you leave the Tao artifact space. Otherwise, it will end up as a pile of scrap metal. Junior can rest assured now. The 8th yang meridian in your body is about to be born. You have to continue working hard. As a mortal, you cannot shake the power and laws of this world. Your goal is to become an immortal first. In the future, I will give you more 9 yin qi to cultivate. It will allow your speed to increase again. Fortunately, your yang meridian has a lot of world essence. If you become a realm lord in the future, it will be of great help to you. I will leave first. After the mysterious woman finished speaking, she did not give Su Fang any chance to speak. Her voice had completely disappeared. Senior, however, Su Fang could not help but shout in his heart. However, the mysterious woman could not hear him. His entire body seemed to be bathed in hot blood. This young nascent soul immediately left the ancient mirror space. All of this happened in an instant. After the young nascent soul returned, Su Fang's eyes and face were filled with a confident smile. Even the Green Feather King could see that he was clearly different from before. Ancient Flood Dragon, you will know how powerful my methods are. Close. Su Fang suddenly stood up and grabbed the Chaos Origin Sacred Mirror. He then circulated all of his young nascent soul and focused on activating the Chaos Origin Sacred Mirror that had absorbed a large amount of 9 yang qi. Outside the immortal formation, the ancient flood dragon saw the red ancient mirror facing him through the immortal formation and immediately laughed. Haha, no Tao artifact can surpass the Xianjia gate. This king admits that your Tao artifact has some skills. However, how powerful can it be? You are just bragging to the heavens. Bang! The ancient mirror suddenly shot out a red light. Under Su Fang's full power, the Chaos Origin Sacred Mirror finally emitted a familiar red light. He was so excited that his body was trembling. Why was he so excited? Because he and the ancient flood dragon were separated by the immortal formation. He didn't know if the red light would be shackled by the immortal formation and be unable to penetrate it. If that was the case, then the Chaos Origin Sacred Mirror wouldn't be a threat to the ancient flood dragon. However, now that the red light had appeared, he firmly believed the mysterious woman's words. The Chaos Origin Sacred Mirror was indeed a heaven-defying item. Can it penetrate the immortal formation? The Green Feather King's gaze followed the red light towards the immortal formation. Chi. Under everyone's eyes, the red light made contact with the immortal formation. Just a 9 yang true fire burned a hole in the immortal formation, and the surrounding immortal formation was burning itself and disappearing. This, the ancient flood dragon couldn't laugh anymore. First, it saw the celestial formation shatter, then it saw the red light shooting toward it. It was filled with an indescribable sense of fear, and its body exploded with immortal light and demonic qi. His eyes widened. No, I am an expert of the flood dragon race. Among the ancient lifeforms, I am far stronger than the Yao race and humans. I can't surpass a magic treasure. See. The red light that shattered the immortal formation also collided with the demonic qi and immortal light released by the ancient flood dragon. The ancient flood dragon could only watch as his powerful demonic qi defense was instantly burned to ashes by the red light. And the invisible flame shackled by the red light was about to engulf his entire body. Once again, it recalled the scene of Su Fang burning a huge hole in its body with the ancient mirror in its stomach. Scared. Chi. Suddenly, the red light was about to engulf the ancient flood dragon. It didn't know where the ancient flood dragon's reaction speed came from, but the moment the red light enveloped him, he left behind a large amount of demonic chi defenses and a clone. His main body was like a snake shedding its skin, a golden silkworm shedding its carapace, instantly escaping the red light's burning aura. Whoosh! As the flames burned, crackling sounds filled the air. In the blink of an eye, the red light burned away the monster energy defenses and avatars that the ancient flood dragon had left behind. Under the immortal formation, Su Fang and Green Feather King took this opportunity to fly toward the hole in the immortal formation. The two of them exchanged a glance. Su Fang unwillingly pounded his fists in shock. The ancient flood dragon is truly worthy of being a Yao immortal of a great world. It was able to break free from the 9 Yang True Fire. Green Feather King comforted him. It is a Yao immortal, a flood dragon, and an immortal. It also has immortal arts. In this Tao treasure world, who can suppress it? Su Fang thought back to the time when he had dealt with the immortal toad in the heavenly gourd land's old immortal cave. He immediately rejoiced and sighed inwardly. Fortunately, when I dealt with the immortal toad, I didn't rashly use the origin sacred mirror. That immortal toad's speed already made it so that I didn't have much confidence. And with that golden silkworm shedding its carapace ability, not only was I unable to suppress it, but I also had to expose the secret of the ancient mirror. Unless the big goblin like the immortal toad and the ancient flood dragon were shackled in space and unable to move, I would have a 100% chance of suppressing them. You human, how dare you destroy the immortal formation? After flying out of the immortal formation, they saw the ancient flood dragon's true body in the sky above the black mountain range in front of them. It was spitting out black and red flames that were thousands of feet long. It was too terrifying, as expected of a heaven-defying evil creature. Su Fang grabbed the origin sacred mirror. I don't need to waste words with you, evil dragon. Just activate this treasure and burn any immortal formation it encounters. I want to see if there are any immortal formations that can stop me from leaving. Baguda shouted savagely, Damn it, this king won't let you succeed. Do you know how many immortal formations this king can create at will? I can see that you're having a hard time activating that thing. In the end, you still won't be able to escape. Enough. Just as the two sides were about to clash again, an ethereal voice suddenly swept over. Then, an ethereal immortal light appeared above the immortal formation. Moss Master. The ancient flood dragon immediately bowed in submission to that immortal light. Xianjia Gate's primordial spirit. Su Fang and Green Feather King were startled. In an instant, cold air seemed to come out of their pores. You're immortal, but not only do you have a magical spirit of violet clouds, you also have such a heaven-defying treasure. You can't even see something like this in a major world, so how could it appear in a minor world? Your destiny is extraordinary, to have two strange treasures. Last time, I saw that you had a magical spirit of violet clouds, so I opened a passageway for you to leave. This time, you entered my world. Don't rely on your two magical treasures to barge into my world as you please. You humans have your own world, and we magical treasures have our own dimension. Su Fang understood and immediately nodded. Junior swears that I will never take half a step into this place again. Unfortunately, someone with great karmic luck like you isn't one of us. Don't come here again. Your future is limitless. You should focus on cultivation to become stronger and become an immortal. Then you can explore the large world. Especially since your violet chi law spirit is still sleeping. You must have only obtained a portion. Think of a way to obtain the complete violet chi law spirit. The immortal light from the immortal Jia Gates Yuan spirit suddenly became imposing. Remember my words, and I will also remember yours. Now I'll send you out. A vortex of immortal light immediately appeared in front of Su Fong. He immediately bowed. Senior, Junior only has one request. Please let the Ping King leave with me. Chapter 683. Su Fong. Greenfeather King could barely stand. His body stiffened. You're lucky to be able to leave. Don't miss such a good opportunity and offend the Xianjia Gate again. Please move. Su Fong was very calm. He stood there like a statue. Junior has the same request today. If Senior doesn't leave, Junior won't leave. The Flood Dragon was furious. Without waiting for the Xianjia Gate's Yuan spirit to speak, it coiled its body. You're going too far. Qingpeng is shackled. That means it's part of the immortal formation. Its master's personal property. But who knew? Su Fong pointed. You evil dragon, you don't have the right to speak here. Brat! Greenfeather King secretly hinted. Who told Su Fong to be so arrogant? He was ignoring the Flood Dragon in front of the Xianjia Gate's Yuan spirit. The latter didn't move. It felt like the fearless Su Fong that had left the state of Zhao. The Flood Dragon was so angry that its scales swelled like sharp blades. Just this change was enough to prove how strong it was. If it wasn't for the fact that it was afraid of a primordial Chaos Sage, it could have crushed Su Fong in one move. Even the divine image Jade Annulus couldn't resist such a powerful Bagutu. Su Fong didn't listen to Greenfeather King's warning. Instead, he looked at the Flood Dragon with disdain. You're just a watchdog. You! The Flood Dragon was completely infuriated. It immediately looked at the Yuan spirit. Master, please allow me to suppress this brat. You have no right to speak here. The origin spirit inside the celestial light didn't stand on the side of the ancient Flood Dragon at all and coldly shouted. Bagutu was like a pickled eggplant. He hadn't expected the Yuan spirit to not speak for him. Whoosh! A ray of immortal light shot out from the Yuan spirit and hit Bagutu. The ancient Flood Dragon Bagutu was like a caterpillar. It curled its body around the Black Mountain Range and became one with the mountain range, turning into a strange rock with many peaks. You can leave. The primordial spirit released another strand of immortal light. The vortex that appeared in front of Su Fong suddenly expanded. As it expanded, Su Fong and Greenfeather King were sucked into it, and they flew away with whooshing sounds. Not only does a mortal possess a violet Qi Law spirit, but he also obtained such an extraordinary divine artifact. Humans with such great luck are hard to find even in the greater worlds, but I actually encountered one in a minor world. If the human master I'm waiting for also has such luck, who knows what will happen in the future? The primordial spirit transformed into a door of nothingness, which was exactly the same as Xianjia's door. This was precisely Immortal Jia Gate's primordial spirit. It produced large amounts of immortal clouds again, as if they were evaporating. At this instant Su Fong and Greenfeather King, who were in the midst of the godly might of the Tao treasure, felt as if they were about to be expelled from the world and sent to the endless stars. Peng peng! Under the dazzling immortal light, the two of them suddenly landed on the ground. They rushed out of the immortal formation out of thin air and landed heavily on the ground. The surrounding white bones were turned to dust. Greenfeather King looked around and was delighted. This is the outer immortal formation space of Xianjia Gate. Wonderful, we actually made it out alive. We made it out alive. Xianjia Gate really does hold grudges. It clearly could have been slower, but it was actually so rough. It injured me. Su Fong stood up with difficulty, blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. At this time, the immortal formation's shackles and gravity had been reduced by more than half. This was truly the outer immortal formation space. If they were still in the inner immortal formation, there was no way they wouldn't be affected by the shackles. Buzz. A Yang Soul aura suddenly came from Su Fong. Senior Li Ziqing. The outer formation's shackles were no longer that terrifying for Su Fang. Seeing the familiar Yang soul mark in his hand, he knew it had come from Li Ziqing even before he heard the sound. Li Ziqing's urgent voice came from the Yang soul mark. Kid, if you can come out, you have to be careful. Many experts are looking for you outside the Xianjia gate. Other powers are hiding near the gate. There's also one more thing. Cultivators are constantly disappearing from the outer region islands. There's also a shackle that prevents cultivators from leaving Flying Immortal Island. It seems the various powers are waiting for someone to escape from the inner immortal formation. Senior Li's mark really came at the right time. Green Feather King put away the Yang soul mark. He also happened to hear Li Ziqing's words. Green Feather King's expression was grave. Let's change our appearances and leave the Xianjia gate first. Even here, it feels like we're being watched by Ba Gutu. Li Ziqing isn't inside the immortal formation. He should be waiting for us outside. Su Fang didn't sense Li Ziqing's aura in the immortal formation. He immediately changed his appearance with Green Feather King and flew toward the exit. Li Ziqing was right. As they flew through the air, they saw experts from various factions hiding in the immortal formations on the ground. These people were in a state of hibernation. If there was even the slightest movement in the immortal formation, it wouldn't escape their ears. Unfortunately, Su Fang and Green Feather King were very used to the Xianjia Gate's aura. Otherwise, they would only be able to fly at a low altitude and fight with a large number of experts. After 2 hours, the two of them arrived at the exit. There were different cultivators sitting cross-legged everywhere. Anyone who came here would immediately attract their attention. However, they didn't have the strength to sense Su Fang and Green Feather King. Whoosh! Flying out of the Xianjia Gate, they saw the boundless natural world. Green Feather King stretched his body in the air. Su Fang also felt weightless from head to toe. In just a moment, Su Fang and Green Feather King quickly arrived in the clouds. A figure also flew over from the clouds. It was Li Ziqing. Li Ziqing arrived. When he saw Su Fang, he patted his shoulder and chatted with Green Feather King. Soon, Hua Qianji also arrived. At this moment, Su Fang released his sensing power. He immediately sensed a shackling force above the entire Outerium archipelago. Green Feather King also felt that something was wrong. A boundary existed in the void. This wasn't an ordinary method. Li Ziqing said, "You've been in there for more than 10 years. A few years ago, this void enchantment surrounded the extraterritorial islands in less than an hour, especially above the Flying Immortals Island. This was strange enough. After that, a large number of treasure-seeking cultivators disappeared or were killed. Some people tried to leave the enchantment, but most of them failed. Some of them stopped moving after they left. I didn't touch the enchantment rashly, so I don't know who set it up. It contains the power of the Zhuotian realm's origin." When he finished, Su Fang wasn't confused at all. In front of the three, he said, "This boundary perfectly fuses with the natural aura of the Outerium archipelago. Only an expert who controls the Zhuotian realm's origin can do it." Green Feather King stroked his chin. "Then, only the experts under the Realm Lord's command can do it." Li Ziqing said calmly, "With our strength, we have the ability to kill our way out of the boundary. How about it? It's not a big problem to kill our way out, but it depends on who the opponent is. However, we just came out and still need some time to recover." Moreover, Su Fang suddenly became spirited. "I want to suppress the Xinyuan Empire's expert, Qin Yuanho. Coincidentally, the Outerium archipelago is shackled by the boundary, so he can't leave freely. It's a good opportunity for me to deal a heavy blow to the Xinyuan Empire again. I'll listen to you. You and Peng King do need time to rest. As for the location of the Xinyuan Empire, I've already secretly paid attention to it. I'll go first and secretly watch their every move." After the discussion, Li Ziqing didn't stop and went into the forest. Su Fang asked Hua Qianji to return to the Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda. Then, he and Green Feather King flashed to a mountain in the depths of the flying immortal island. They each sat cross-legged and used various methods to absorb the heaven and earth spirit qi to recover their physical bodies and true qi. We're out. We're out alive. Divine Image Jade Walls Space. More than 10,000 experts were sitting cross-legged with Red Lotus, Holy Monarch Guangzhou, and Elder Tsang Hao. At this time, when the vast natural aura entered the space from the Tao artifact, they knew where they were. They were all ecstatic. Just a second ago, they saw Su Fang releasing all the power of the Divine Image Jade Wall to fight with the ancient Flood Dragon. In the end, he was no match for Bagutu. Since the Tao artifact was no match for him, it didn't release any divine aura. They couldn't see what the Tao artifact had experienced and thought that they would be suppressed in the Tao artifact's world until they turned into bones. But now, after absorbing the natural aura, most of them couldn't help but tear up. They were even happier than Su Fang and Green Feather King. Another 3 years passed. 20 years. A total of 20 years have passed in this Xianjia Gate. After cultivating for 3 years, Su Fang and Green Feather King had recovered enough to deal with experts. After sighing, Green Feather King also sighed a few times. The two didn't waste any more time. They stopped cultivating and used their methods to silently fly into the depths of the clouds. About 3 breaths later, they arrived outside a dense forest and met with Li Ziqing in midair. Green Feather King's killing intent surged. The Xinyuan Empire is an enemy you have to eliminate. This Qin Yuanho must be suppressed. Although he's strong and stands at the peak of the mortal world, he's still not our match. Su Fang told him the whole plan. Senior Li will be in charge of dealing with the experts who escaped. Peng King and I will deal with the real experts of the Xinyuan Empire and Doichi. We'll work together and try not to let anyone escape. We'll make sure those two factions don't return this time. The three of them hit it off. Li Ziqing stayed on the periphery. Su Fang and Green Feather King had already arrived in the depths of the forest. They sensed that there were more than 500 experts of the Xinyuan Empire and Doichi. The strongest aura among them, the one with the divine might of the sacred Emperor Divine Origin Scripture, was at the center of the formation. Under the urging of the Divine Image Jade Annulus, the two easily came to the top of the formation. Then, one on the left and one on the right, they almost simultaneously unleashed an attack that contained a certain amount of divine might of a Tao artifact. Rumble in a breath's time, the forest was suddenly destroyed. It was swallowed up in a large area, and it was in a state of destruction. The formation was shattered. The hundreds of people inside, no matter what kind of cultivation they had, were shaken to the point of dizziness, vomiting blood, and their young souls withered. Suppress! With a wave of his hand, the 8 origin soul formation exploded. When the experts of the two forces fell into the attack, and were like ants on a hot pan, most of the experts were enveloped, and a small number of experts were injured and fled. Su Fang suddenly shot the divine image Jade Annulus out of his body. It turned into an immortal light and merged with the 8 origin soul formation. Guard it from me. With the 8 origin soul formation and the Peng King's support, no one can shake the formation. After giving the order, Su Fang rushed into the 8 origin soul formation. Suddenly, he saw a demonic sword aura that contained a certain amount of divine might. Some of the experts who released their Dharma treasures and attacked the formation were instantly injured. It was Green Feather King. Sure enough, after being suppressed for more than 100 years, Green Feather King's strength had increased more than 10 times compared to before. It was estimated that his strength was now comparable to the peerless big goblin like Old Toad Immortal, Sky Drill Rat Emperor, and Doichi Fox Mother. The aura of the sacred Emperor Divine Origin Scripture, Qin Yuanho, where do you think you're going? There was another flash. Under the cover of the fire god elephant and the fire crystal stone man, Su Fang came to the front of more than a dozen experts who were escaping and attacking the formation. Among them, a man in a golden python robe was clearly releasing a strong Emperor Qi of the Holy Emperor Divine Origin Scripture. Qin Yuanho. Chapter 684. It's Su Fang that the prince is looking for, Marquis. Several experts saw Su Fang pushing the formation and recognized him as soon as they saw him and informed Marquis Qin Yuanho in the center. The moment Qin Yuanho turned around, he looked away from the 8 primordial spiritual elephant formation and looked at Su Fang with surprise. At this moment, the surrounding experts also cast their gazes on Su Fang and exclaimed one after another. Marquis, he escaped from the Xianjia Gate. The rumors are true, this person does have the secret of a Dao artifact. Then, what about General Guangzhou? And my Doichi elder Tsang Hao? The experts suddenly came back to their senses. Su Fang left the Xianjia Gate alive, which meant that he did have the secret of the Xianjia Gate. But the experts of the Xinyuan Empire and the Doichian the cultivators who entered the Xianjia Gate. Marquis Qin Yuanho's emperor's seal turned into a domineering king, and everyone was respectful to him. Catch this boy, he actually came to the door, so we don't have to look for him. Whoever catches Su Fang is equivalent to making a great contribution to the empire. More than a dozen experts immediately grabbed their magic treasures, and in the middle of the formation, they used their respective magical powers to surround and kill, forming a large colorful strangling power storm. Everyone attacked. Marquis Qin Yuanho summoned dozens of experts behind him, and he also grabbed a big axe, and a golden armor appeared on his body. Clang clang clang, those experts who first arrived in front of Su Fang, combined their magic treasures, could definitely kill a heartless grandma. But Su Fang attacked, using the illusory fire cloud, which turned into the fire cloud fist, and blasted out hundreds of punches. How much true qi did it take to explode such a large area of terrifying attack? The fire cloud fist collided with the magic treasures, and the Xinyuan Empire and the Doichi experts could no longer move forward. Each fire cloud fist had reached the high level of the feather transformation realm, and at least had the strength of an elder. Hundreds of fist techniques were equivalent to hundreds of elders attacking together. It was not hard to imagine that a dozen people could break through the fire cloud fist technique. Su Fang was too domineering right now. He floated at the center, fiery clouds burning around him with chi sounds. Even these fiery clouds were at the height of an elder. Together with the 8 Origin Soul Elephant formation, Green Feather King and Li Ziqing's help, who could contend against him? I'm afraid only. Marquis Qin Yuanho. Dozens of experts rushed over from behind. When they saw their companions being blocked by the fire clouds, one of them said in shock, Marquis, I didn't expect this person to be so powerful. His strength is at the level of a great elder of a great power. The Marquis of Qin Yuanho held a big axe in his hand. He was surprised but calm. Why don't you think about it? If he wasn't powerful, how could he cause His Highness to lose His Highness? How could he cause His Highness to lose his life? Kill. Ho ho ho. Dozens of people suddenly used their transcendent artifacts to attack. They flew towards the burning enchantment formed by the Flaming Cloud Fist art. They wanted to shatter the Flaming Cloud Fist art and then join forces to kill Su Fang. Illusion and reality, limitless clone. In the depths of the fiery clouds, Su Fang seemed to be standing on top of a matrix, gazing at a large number of experts. Suddenly, he left behind one figure after another in the fiery clouds, and then disappeared to an unknown location. After a second behind the Marquis of Qin Yuanho, there were 8 Origin spiritual elephant matrices. Amidst the surging magic, a figure holding an edgeless sword unceremoniously slashed at the Marquis of Qin Yuanho. The dignified Marquis of the Xinyuan Empire, who had fought in all directions and made many great contributions, actually did not use the edgeless heavy sword to attack. Fortunately, there was an invisible defense to block the edgeless sword. However, the defense was immediately broken by the sword. At this moment, the Marquis of Qin Yuanhou reacted. He picked up his axe, turned around, and with a clang, the edgeless sword was shaken away. He looked at Su Fang and was extremely surprised. This is Doichi's limitless Tao art. You can actually use it. As expected of the Marquis of the Xinyuan Empire. Su Fang grabbed around with his left hand. A transformation array twisted in an instant, forming an 8-origin spiritual elephant matrices. Su Fang stepped on a fire crystal golem and instantly activated the 8-origin spiritual elephant matrices, imprisoning the Marquis of Qin Yuanhou in the 8-origin spiritual elephant matrices. All of this was completed in a breath. It was as if the ancient flood dragon was in the Tao artifact space. This was absolute control. The Marquis of Qin Yuanhou frowned. What a young master! Even compared to those proud sons of heaven in the Empire, you are not worse. But you can't defeat me. Without the support of the 5 Poison Divine Sect, you can't be my opponent at all. Su Fang waved his long sword, and his aura became more and more fierce. The aura of the 7th level Calamity Realm had reached the high level of the Winged Transformation Realm. I want to see how powerful you are. Bang! A figure left an afterimage. The Marquis of Qin Yuanhou attacked. His speed was like teleportation. In the blink of an eye, the golden armor swayed and pierced through the air in front of Su Fang. In the light, the Marquis of Qin Yuanhou waved the big axe with both hands and was chopping down on Su Fang's head. Whoosh! Clang! The edgeless sword thunder stabbed out, one step faster in the air, and intercepted the big axe. It was just 2 extraordinary royal-grade magic treasures. The momentum of the collision was destructive, shaking Su Fang and the Marquis of Qin Yuanhou's aura defense. One was a world-famous marquis, and the other was a fledgling cultivator. But under the confrontation of magic treasures and strength, they were evenly matched. Squeak! At this moment, the Marquis of Qin Yuanhou held the big axe in both hands, still pressing on the edgeless sword. Below, Su Fang held the sword in his hand, stepping on the void and persisting in resistance. The Marquis's arm muscles were formed piece by piece, and so was his body. There were also some surging sounds of power constantly. This was a powerhouse born with divine strength. Su Fang calmly responded and did not show the next attack. He had a perfect physical body. In terms of divine strength, he was not even afraid of the demon clan, let alone a human. About half an incense later, Qin Yuanhou was sweating profusely. You, this Marquis, possess innate divine strength. Cultivating with divine strength is my innate talent. With this, I have slaughtered countless powerful enemies. How is it that you, a 7th-level catastrophe realm cultivator, can actually resist me, a limitless void realm powerhouse? Could it be that you also mainly cultivate your physical body? You are right, Marquis Qin Yuanhou, you are indeed a rare powerhouse. Your physical body can be compared with some big goblin, but in front of me your physical body is still a little worse. I heard that the upper echelons of the Xinyuan Empire cultivate the Divine Emperor Divine Origin Scripture and condense the imperial body. One of them is called the Heavenly Saint Tyrant Body. Why don't you use it? How do you know so much about the imperial family of my empire? Imperial family, you are not the imperial family. You, the Marquis of Qin Yuanhou, is just an ordinary mortal of the Xinyuan Empire. Later, you became a powerhouse and made contributions to the Xinyuan Empire. You are also a peerless powerhouse, but you still want to kiss someone's cold ass. Marquis, you can't be a real imperial family. Then I will use the Heavenly Saint Tyrant Body and kill you. I was worried that the aura could not be released here and attract the attention of the powerhouses of the Zhuotian realm. Since it has come to this step, see how this Marquis will tear you to pieces. Seal of the King. The Marquis of Qin Yuanhou still maintained an oppressive posture. Without seeing him form a seal, suddenly a lot of golden seals gushed out of his body. His whole person was like gold. Then, his eyes turned golden, and so did his eyebrows. The inside of his divine body shook and exploded. Suddenly, a golden armor of flesh was formed outside his divine body. At this time, the Marquis of Qin Yuanhou had red eyebrows and golden eyes. His aura suddenly increased by several times. With a loud shout, his sweat was golden and dripping down. Bang divine power burst out from his arms, passed through the big axe, and pressed on the edgeless sword with a bang. Su Fang's arms trembled and trembled slightly. What a good heavenly saint tyrant body! It is a rare small world cultivation technique. Unfortunately, I also know this divine ability, Seal of the Emperor. In the blink of an eye, Su Fang was like Qin Yuanhou. A lot of golden seals gushed out, and his eyes turned into a pair of shocking golden eyes. Qin Yuanhou stared at him in disbelief. How do you know the peerless cultivation technique of the Xinyuan Empire? This is a technique that only the real members of the royal family can cultivate. I do not have the royal bloodline, but I was also bestowed with the supreme divine ability by the four great lords. Who are you? Su Fang smiled coldly. Heavenly Saint Tyrant Body, one of the few great divine abilities in the Holy Emperor Divine Origin scripture. It is indeed a rare physical body cultivation technique. However, in front of me, it can't beat the big goblin's physical body. Damn it! Divine Weapon Axe Force. The strength of his feet seemed to have taken root. Qin Yuanhou suddenly exerted his strength, showing the extraordinary strength of his physical body. In a flash, he raised his arms high, and the big axe in his hand was red with sparks. Suddenly, the axe chopped on the edgeless sword one after another. Such an attack made him like a ferocious beast, using the fastest and strongest speed in his life to continuously trample Su Fang into meat paste. Bombardment after bombardment formed a deafening sound wave of the impact of the magic weapon. If half of the feather transformation realm were present, the young infant would be shattered and bleeding from the 7 orifices. This kind of fighting, physical competition, and close combat were rare in the small world. If it weren't for the fact that both of them had the advantage of divine power, there wouldn't be such a shocking scene. Brat. Qin Yuanhou changed his attack method again. The strength of his feet suddenly stepped out, running wildly around Su Fang like a wild beast. With every step, an axe chopped down. What a terrifying and swift attack. It felt that the next axe could split Su Fang in half at any time. Under such a strong attack and the pressure of divine power, Su Fang was shocked. What Qin Yuanhou had, he also had, but what he had was something Qin Yuanhou couldn't have. In order to shock the tens of thousands of experts inside the Taoist instrument, Su Fang had secretly let Yuer use the divine power, so that she could let countless people inside the Taoist instrument see the scene of him fighting with Qin Yuanhou. Although the divine jade annulus was floating outside the 8 primordial spiritual elephant formation at this time, the divine power of the Taoist instrument was enough to let tens of thousands of people see everything outside. The 9 great masters and tens of thousands of experts in the Taoist instrument world had long lost the thought of cultivating. Seeing Su Fang and the famous peerless expert fighting, the two fought until the sky turned dark, and the sun and moon lost their light. They couldn't believe that Su Fang had such fighting strength. Especially Jin Chongkong, Elder Juedao, and Xuanzhen Nun, these experts who knew Su Fang's past. They finally saw how powerful Su Fang was, and that he had surpassed them, the elders. How many experts were completely and heartlessly crushed at this moment. Before Su Fang's heaven-defying strength, their little bit of arrogance, conceit, and self-respect were instantly shattered into pieces and vanished without a trace. This was Su Fang's purpose. Not only did he want to suppress them, but he also wanted these people to be loyal to him and really be used by him. Moreover, Su Fang already knew that if he made good use of the battle with Qin Yuanhou, it was enough to change everyone's opinion of him. The two fought for no less than 1,000 rounds. No experts of the Xinyuan Empire or Doichi could be seen in the surroundings. The arrays inside the 8 primordial spiritual elephant formation were being destroyed layer by layer by the aura of the two people fighting. Boom! The entire 8 primordial spiritual elephant formation was broken. When it was broken, some experts of the Xinyuan Empire and Doichi were being absorbed by the immortal light of the divine jade annulus. Green Feather King, who was surrounded by green burning demon chi, was shackling a few people and throwing them into the immortal light, and then watching the two fight in the ruins with the Taoist instrument. Qin Yuanhou, I have already proved that your divine power is not above mine. Next, I will suppress you. Limitless Tao art. Since the array couldn't stop their fight, there was no need to be entangled. Su Fang suddenly let out a loud shout and retreated 100 feet away. Chapter 685. In a breath, Su Fang had just flashed out and activated the Limitless Tao technique. Qin Yuanhou had already become a mad bull. Like a lion pouncing on Su Fang, as if pouncing on food, he roared, and the royal great axe in his hand exploded with a fierce aura. As he rushed over, he lost the destructive aura of the 8 origin spiritual elephant formation, and the surrounding forest was directly crushed by his aura. Just this aura alone was enough to seriously injure an elder. The space also burned with friction flames, causing Su Fang and Qin Yuanhou to fall into the center of the ruins. Shwa shwa shwa. One by one, Su Fang suddenly appeared, about 30 people. First, they lined up in a row, then Su Fang ordered the limitless avatars to pounce on Qin Yuanhou. When Qin Yuanhou saw so many Su Fang rushing over, he was shocked but did not panic. Doichi's peerless technique, the limitless avatar, I know very well. As long as the avatars are destroyed, your original body will have nowhere to run. Su Fang was hiding somewhere. Then you are wrong. The limitless avatar has reached an unfathomable height in my hands. In a while, you will definitely be suppressed. Boom. Sure enough, a big axe swept across the sky and hit the avatar at the front. Immediately, like a jar, the avatar shattered. Qin Yuanhou passed by the avatars. Avatar, world's origin. Su Fang, who was hiding among the avatars, once again changed the avatar to contain divine power. Boom boom boom. The avatars actually punched out with the aura of the Emperor's seal in the air. These avatars are the fist of the Holy Sovereign. Qin Yuanhou was shocked and slowed down. Boom. His whole body fell into the attack of dozens of limitless avatars. No matter how domineering his axe was, no matter how fast he was, it was impossible to destroy all the avatars around him at once. This big explosion came from dozens of avatars, directly razing the forest to the ground. The explosion light soared into the sky, and the surrounding ground suddenly shattered inch by inch. It's really a battle of peerless experts. Green Feather King had already flown far away. At this moment, Li Ziqing came from behind with an astonished expression. This brat has only cultivated for less than 300 years. How can he have such strength? King Greenfeather was the person who understood Su Fang's past the best. He has great karmic luck, and most importantly, he dares to risk everything. That's why he has his current strength. He's not like most people who rely on karmic luck to obtain cultivation techniques and magical treasures, but then lose their courage. Su Fang has always relied on his own strength to create everything. Geniuses can be divided into 3 types. The first type thinks that they are geniuses and want to capture them easily, reaping without sowing. The second type only knows how to use geniuses and magical treasures. The third type doesn't care that they are geniuses and still fight against the heavens and themselves like ordinary cultivators. Without a doubt, Su Fang is the third type of person. And that makes sense. There are so many geniuses in the world, but how many of them belong to the third category? Qin Yuanhou is finished. The two ancient powerhouses floated in the air with disdainful momentum, bearing witness that Su Fang was about to suppress another great character of the Xunyuan Empire. Tut-tut, deep in the center of the explosion, ruins spread, and a large number of clones disappeared, leaving only a badly mutilated expert. Qin Yuanhou. He was still standing straight with a big backbone. His bones supported his body, and the battle axe in his hand flowed with his own blood. Just as he took a breath, a large number of Wuji clones flew in front of him. You are Su Fang. Who are you? I, Qin Yuanhou, have been on the battlefield for thousands of years. I have encountered many strong enemies who were much stronger than me, but they all died under my axe. Qin Yuanhou waved his battle axe shakily and roared into the sky. How can you use Wuji clones to such a height? His roar shook the sky and permeated in all directions. I am Su Fang. Is there a need to explain anything else? Wuji clones. Su Fang appeared behind him. He didn't hide in his clones and controlled them to attack. He used the ethereal true scripture, and with the origin of the immortal sealing sect in his body, he controlled the natural power of heaven and earth as if this was still the space of the 8 origin image formation. Boundless Empire. The battle axe exploded with a king-grade magic treasure, and with Qin Yuanhou's divine might golden body, when all the clones rushed to the surroundings, he stepped in the air with all his might, and the battle axe in his hand slashed across the sky, creating a destructive magic treasure's power. Boom! Boom! Once again, the explosion covered and swallowed Wuji clones and Qin Yuanhou. After about a few breaths, the power of the explosion was still continuing, and Su Fang's countless clones had already killed their way into the rolling dust of destruction inside. Die! Little did they know. They thought that Qin Yuanhou was at least seriously injured. The few Wuji clones that flew to the front were smashed into pieces by the bloody Qin Yuanhou's axe in a daze. Bang! The moment the battle axe fell on Wuji clones, Su Fang's palm hit Qin Yuanhou's head. Wuji clones exploded, and Qin Yuanhou's legs went soft. The battle axe fell out of his hand and his body collapsed to the ground. The head of this great general finally hung down powerlessly at this moment. Now you know that the life and death of the great Emperor Dipper and the heart elephant are in my hands. It's not an accident, right? Following the trend Star Finger, a large number of seals poured into Qin Yuanhou's mind, making him unable to resist or do anything. With his violent temper, he could do anything. Qin Yuanhou shuddered and sighed. I actually lost to the sword of a cultivator of the catastrophe realm. Su Fang stood with his hands behind his back and breathed a sigh of relief. He felt that the battle with Qin Yuanhou had made his body infinitely relaxed. Don't be so depressed. Not only you, Holy King Guangzhou and Elder Tsang Hao also fell into my hands. What? Qin Yuanhou, who was hanging his head, suddenly raised his head. According to your decree, Holy King Guangzhou and Elder Tsang Hao led 2 major forces, nearly 2,000 people, to chase me into the Xianjia Gate. In the Tao artifact world, they were all shackled by the immortal array. Tens of thousands of cultivators were killed by me and fled. Many of them eventually fell into my hands. Now I will let you enter the Tao artifact world and meet your subordinates. Qin Yuanhou, since you fell into my hands, just accept your fate. Think about it, heal your injuries, and then help me deal with the Xunyuan Empire. Soon in the future, I will take back the human sovereign world from the powerful Xunyuan Empire. Whoosh! After saying the last word, a beam of immortal light followed Su Fang's left hand and brought Qin Yuanhou and his battle axe into the Tao artifact world. Lord Greenfeather and Li Ziqing flashed and praised, "You're too fierce, kid. This Qin Yuanhou is even stronger than Heartless Grandma." Su Fang nodded and said, "I was also forced out by the Xunyuan Empire, the Green Lotus Sword sect, the Zunv Pavilion and the Immortal Sealing sect. Seniors, we have to leave the extraterritorial islands. It's time to leave. The two old antiques also nodded, and the three of them immediately flew up into the sky. The ruins of the battle below stretched for 100 miles, forming a bowl-shaped, desert-like ruin. At this moment, the three masters quietly arrived 10,000 miles above the flying deity island and suddenly saw an invisible barrier covering the world. Suppress. And it seemed that there was already an expert waiting in the barrier, waiting to ambush them. Before the three of them could continue to sense the barrier, a large number of Xian Guang suddenly appeared above the barrier, like the seal of a formation shackling the Xian Guang, falling down like a waterfall. Su Fang, Li Ziqing, and Lord Greenfeather were all the top masters of the world. The barrier's strange burst of shackles made them react immediately, constantly dodging with teleportation. Especially Su Fang. He was ready to activate the instant space ring. With his current strength combined with the instant space ring, he was faster than any of the great elders and existences like Heartless Grandma. Li Ziqing couldn't help but sigh, what a strong origin power. Lord Greenfeather said, most likely, as we secretly analyzed before, the barrier that sealed the extraterritorial islands should be the work of the experts under the current realm Lord Zhuotian. Whoosh, whoosh. Several experts came from different barriers above, stirring up a storm of shackles, chasing the four of them. The shackles were as easy to control as gods to them. Where are you running to? Especially you, Su Fang. One of them said in a towering voice, you are the culprit who attracted countless cultivators and foreign forces to the Zhuotian realm. Su Fang was shocked, he didn't expect the other party to know his origin. As he dodged, he asked calmly, are you the forces under realm Lord Zhuotian or the experts of this territory? That voice shouted numbly again, we are the experts under the realm lord. We follow the realm lord's orders to control the entire extraterritorial islands, purge and suppress all the forces and cultivators from other small worlds. I am not a cultivator from the outside world. What does it have to do with me? Because this matter started because of you. Moreover, you can come out alive from the Xianjia Gate, which proves that you do indeed have the secret of the Dao artifact. This Dao artifact has caused the Zhuotian realm to be in chaos for countless years, disturbing the peace of the Zhuotian realm. By controlling you, we can control the Xianjia Gate and completely solve this problem. So you also want the Xianjia Gate. Su Fang instantly understood. Green Feather King and Li Ziqing also finally knew the origins of these people and why they wanted to seal the entire extraterritorial islands. That voice laughed coldly, you are wrong. The Xianjia Gate fell into the Zhuotian realm. From the moment it fell, it became the property of my Zhuotian realm, which is also the possession of the Supreme Realm Lord. A group of lackeys pretending to be mysterious. A large amount of green demonic chi shot out from Green Feather King's palm, instantly turning into a green sword formation. It was as if they had grown wings, attacking a total of 5 shackles above. The sword formation was indeed powerful. Even if the other party tried to suppress it, Green Feather King's current strength was extremely high, reaching the peak of the mortal realm. He instantly shattered the shackles one by one. Supreme Yin-Yang Rakshasa Sword. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Su Fang used the instant space ring. The two experts followed his aura and flew to the shattered storm children. Su Fang looked at the barrier above. No matter how strong the barrier was, there was only one thought in his mind, and that was to kill a hole in the formation. His left and right eyes suddenly burst out with divine might. It looked like 2 distorted Xian Guang. But it contained the power of the world, controlling the power of nature. It suddenly formed 2 sword lights and struck the void barrier above. 2 shuddering sounds could be heard. A large hole was actually created in the barrier. This person can actually use the world's origin. Chase. 5 mysterious experts immediately appeared behind the 3 of them. They were shocked, but it was too late for regrets. They used their fastest speed to chase after them. They are here. Just as they passed through the barrier, Green Feather King looked at the 5 experts behind them. They were chasing after them with teleportation speed. His expression turned grave. Su Fang also sucked in a breath of cold air. He did not expect that after leaving the Xianjia Gate and fighting with Qin Yuanhou, he would be able to leave the Zhuotian realm smoothly. He did not expect to fight with the experts under the Realm Lord. Since they are experts nurtured by the Realm Lord, they can control the Zhuotian realm's origin. The 5 of them are already very powerful. Once they attack at the same time, the world's power will definitely be able to stop me. Fortunately, I have the instant space ring. This world's origin treasure is not something they can catch up to. Su Fang swallowed his saliva and began to activate the instant space ring with all his strength. Chapter 686. At the same time, the 5 experts chased out from the outer region islands that were enveloped by the enchantment. Their speed was getting faster and faster, and the might of the world was emitted from their eyes and every action. Rustle! The instant space ring appeared on Su Fang's finger. At this time, Su Fang, Green Feather King, and Li Ziqing's speed was astonishing. In a breath's time, they had reached the 9 heavens. Green Feather King looked down and didn't see the 5 experts' shadows. He couldn't help but feel relieved. These experts under the Realm Lord's command aren't as fast as flying in the sky. This is because Su Fang's speed is too shocking. If it was me, I wouldn't be able to shake off these experts. Li Ziqing was also shocked by Su Fang. As for Su Fang, as his strength continued to increase, the instant space ring became easier to use. Moreover, he had been fusing with the spiritual veins to increase the Zhuotian realm's world power. The spiritual veins were huge, and Su Fang had only fused with a small part of them. However, this allowed him to raise the speed of the instant space ring to another level. Using the world's origin, he was now very powerful in the Zhuotian realm. The destructive power of the divine ability could normally be at 6th level feather transformation realm. However, in the Zhuotian realm, with the support of the world power, it was no problem to deal with 7th or 8th level feather transformation realm experts. The 5 experts below were the same. Because they controlled the world power, their strength in the Zhuotian realm had already surpassed the Great Elder's height. After 3 breaths, the 3 of them were about to reach the end of the Zhuotian realm. Su Fang didn't see the 5 figures below. Suddenly, his expression changed. Something's not right. Why didn't these people chase after us? Green Feather King and Li Ziqing also felt that something was wrong. Heaven and Earth Prison. Who knew? From the end of the sky above the 3 of them, 5 rays of light suddenly appeared. From the rays of light, shackles burst out, causing the 3 of them to fall into a shackled space. Their speed and aura were obviously affected. Green Feather King looked and said, "So they had already used their methods to block us." As expected of experts nurtured by the Realm Lord. Such speed is almost comparable to the shuttle door. Li Ziqing shouted, "Attack! We can't let the shackled space form an absolute seal." Whoosh! The 3 of them formed a triangle and attacked. Pad shackles of the Xian Guang, which were a few miles away, were instantly shaken by the trio's unparalleled power. Then, layer by layer, they peeled off and shattered. One side. The shackles formed a large hole, and the surrounding enchantments were also falling apart layer by layer. Su Fang looked at his fist. He hadn't expected that he wouldn't be able to break through the shackles. What a powerful shackle! It seems those experts have long since planted shackle runes in nature. They can use them to suppress their enemies. Yue Green-Clothed Man, estimated to be in his 30s, appeared outside the confinement force, separated from Su Fang by the firm and mysterious enchantment boundary of heaven and earth. He looked at Su Fang sharply and was very surprised. "You really have some tricks up your sleeve." You actually made it so that we couldn't completely activate the heaven and earth barrier. Su Fang adjusted his breathing and felt that this green-robed man was very strong, at least slightly stronger than Heartless Grandma. Most importantly, he could control the power of the world. A moment later, Su Fang sneered, "You don't need to get married. The enchantment boundary is against us. Do you want to fight us with just the 5 of you?" The man was not polite. "You can escape from the Xianjia Gate. You are the first person in 200,000 years. In addition, there are 2 experts guarding you. With the power of the world that you control, someone must hold you back and then trap you in this formation." "Humph, this shackle enchantment can't trap me." Whoosh! In a flash, as Su Fang attacked, the shackles of the enchantment were shattered and peeled off by his palms. Seeing this, the man's expression changed. "You are really a 7th-level calamity." Humph! He was underestimated by the other party. Su Fang used the Holy Sovereign's fist again. A faint golden emperor's aura intertwined in the defense and aura. Suddenly, a few more punches hit the shackles of the enchantment. Suddenly, there was a burst of tsunami-like shattering. Su Fang actually punched a big hole and flew directly to the green-clothed man. "You are very strong." Chi the green-clothed man suddenly flashed. He was also as fast as a spark. Under Su Fang's defense, he used his speed and the power of the world as an advantage. First, he controlled the pressure of nature, then he attacked around Su Fang with his palms. Boom! After seeing this, he took a breath and stomped his right foot. The power of nature surrounding Su Fang, as well as the power of the world, was shaken by the force of this stomp, and collapsed in all directions. Turned out that at this moment, he also used the peerless power of the world. Moreover, his power of the world was not weaker than the green-clothed man's. Chi the pitiful green-clothed man still wanted to use his advantage. While suppressing Su Fang, he also suppressed Su Fang with his palms. At this moment all his plans fell through. Everything around Su Fang was collapsing. As a result, he was unable to retreat in time. Along with the collapse, he vomited blood. The green-clothed man's hair was disheveled. How did you cultivate such a shocking world's origin?" In this Zhuotian realm, other than a few leaders and old antiques, it is impossible for a young cultivator like you to grasp such a shocking world's power. Su Fang did not treat him as a great enemy. From the corner of his eyes, he saw that Green Feather King and Li Ziqing had also killed their way out of the shackles and were fighting with the 2 great experts. 5 great experts. The 3 of them were each holding back one, so there were still 2 left. Under the perception of the Great Circle's power, he found that the 2 great experts were hiding above. They were still controlling the world's barrier from before. It seemed that they wanted to use the barrier to cooperate with the 3 of them to trap them. With a cold smile, Su Fang suddenly looked like a hunter, sizing up the green-clothed man who had been attacked. The green-clothed man felt a chill all over his body under Su Fang's gaze. "Could it be that you are the reincarnation of a supreme expert or have obtained an immortal's legacy? Think about it yourself. Don't disappoint me. I want to see how powerful the experts nurtured by the Realm Master are. Although the world's power you have grasped is extraordinary, compared to me, you don't have much of an advantage. Don't let me kill you so easily." Su Fang had a stifling smile on his face as he rushed in front of the green-clothed man. Pa pa pa. The 2 of them exchanged fists and palm techniques again. As the 2 of them exchanged blows, a large area of the surrounding sky collapsed. It felt like the world was being destroyed. In fact, the 2 of them controlled the world's divine might, invisibly seeping into and controlling space. It was just that under the strong confrontation, it was constantly shattering, forming a scene of space and the world collapsing. The 2 of them had already exchanged more than 100 moves. Su Fang was too powerful, forcing the green-clothed man to retreat. "Senior brother, let me help you." Finally, one of the two great experts hiding in the barrier above flew out. It was a woman. The green-clothed man's forehead was covered in cold sweat. Don't come. We will follow the plan and form a shackle space in the sky to trap the three of them. We can't care about this. Without you, just the two of us, without a long time of support, how can we successfully condense the space? It was a black-clothed woman, 25 or 26 years old. She was not like the man who insisted on fighting with Su Fang. She grabbed an immortal sword. It was a sharp sword that contained the world's divine might. It was a very high-quality king-grade artifact, probably similar to the Rakshasa jade vase. Suddenly, the sword, coupled with her extraordinary speed and the control of space by the world's power, was actually an absolute sword technique. It was unknown how, but it tyrannically hit Su Fang's defense. The defense was broken again, and Su Fang almost vomited blood from the shock. The green-clothed man immediately revealed a smile. Let the two of us deal with you. Kid, we have given you enough face. There are many leaders in the current Zhuotian world, but there are only a few who can be dealt with by us together. Su Fang looked at the black-clothed woman behind him. I didn't expect a woman like you to be so careless when killing people. The black-clothed woman was somewhat arrogant and proud. Since you went against the rules of this small world, I will naturally not be polite to you. Su Fang instantly shook his head. You only have this much ability. Even with the world's power and a king-grade origin artifact, you still can't force me to the brink. You really disappoint me. I want to see how powerful the experts nurtured by Zhuotian World Lord are. Is this all you have? This person is demonic. Suppress this person and hand him over to Master. The two experts' aura suddenly increased, and their world's divine might doubled. They grabbed a large number of runic divine might palm prints, which transformed into a spatial palm print and grabbed towards Su Fang, who was trapped in the center. I will let you see my power. Yin-Yang Rakshasa sword. Su Fang was suppressed by the two experts' power and was about to be pressed down by the palm print above. At this moment, an indescribable void aura surged out from his body. The Yin-Yang Rakshasa sword is the second great divine power that I have created recently. The first divine power is the Dragon Snake Scroll. This Yin-Yang Rakshasa sword is created by fusing my 9 Yang True Qi and 9 Yin True Qi into the Tao of Yin and Yang, as well as the ethereal True Explanation, the limitless Tao Art, and the heavenly Demon Disintegration Seal. It is a divine might attack and true Qi. It is a shocking divine power that can even materialize. Only people who have mastered the Tao of dual cultivation can control such a divine power. Under the powerful suppression of the black-clothed woman and the green-clothed man, not to mention Su Fang, even Heartless Granny, Sacred Monarch Guangzhou, and Grand Elder Red Lotus could not resist. Because the two of them had a terrifying world's divine might, countless cultivators could only look up to them. Suddenly, Su Fang was about to be crushed by the divine might palm print. A terrifying storm formed by the fusion of countless void sword stars suddenly exploded from his eyes, aura, and defense. The void sword stars instantly swallowed the world's suppression and the palm print above. It was like a flood had swept through, collapsing and turning into ruins. This attack had no moves or fixed patterns. It was no longer an ordinary divine power, but a Tao art. A Tao art of nature. This was the ultimate power of mortal cultivators. It was also the Tao of nature that only immortals like Seven Star Child could control. For example, the technique that Seven Star Child used to shackle Su Fang and Yu Yingying in the sky in the Fertile Continent was actually a supreme technique similar to the Yin-Yang Rakshasa sword. The Yin-Yang Rakshasa sword was no longer an ordinary divine power or move. Instead, it was a technique that surpassed the shackles of moves, merged with nature, and comprehended countless divine powers. After merging with nature, it formed the divine might of a Tao art. This divine power is indeed powerful. It combines the ethereal true explanations Tao of illusion and the power of my world. It can merge with the surrounding natural aura and control it. When I use the Yin-Yang Rakshasa sword, I can instantly attack everything in this space. In addition, with the support of the Heavenly Demon Disintegration Seal, it contains the power to attack the Yang Soul and Essence Soul. Any cultivator would be threatened by the Yang Soul while facing the divine power attack. If the body and mind are attacked at the same time, no cultivator would be able to face such a technique. Everything around him was shattered and destroyed by the Void Sword stars. Su Fang smiled. From the beginning until now, he had been confident that he would win. As long as he did not encounter a realm lord, he had absolute confidence in dealing with these few experts. Chapter 687. The Master of Dark Forest, Black Cloud. He walked in the midst of destruction and destruction, watching his divine aura and dominators will turn into an attack, completely shattering this space. Just like the Realm Overlord back then, he had absolute dominance. Whoosh! The sky was filled with shattering power. A black-robed figure and a green-robed figure were shaken out, controlling their artifacts to protect themselves. However, their bodies were covered in blood, and their faces were as pale as paper. So strong! His mastery of nature is actually able to directly control the nature we are in. His mastery of the world and world's power is actually above ours. It was the green-robed man and the black-robed woman. They were heavily injured. Under Su Fang's terrifying attacks, the world's divine aura, speed, and attack all disappeared along with the shattering space. Suddenly, the two felt that they were in a gloomy and cold valley. They turned around and countless Su Fang appeared in front of them. They did not know which one was the main body. I will not kill you, as I do not wish to offend a Supreme Realm Overlord. Go back and tell that Realm Overlord Zhuotian that I, Su Fang, do not wish to obtain Xianjia Gate. You! The two experts did not dare to move, because they knew that the surrounding space was completely controlled by Su Fang, and they could not see the main body and the clone clearly. If they suddenly attacked, they would really die under Su Fang's sword if they did not guess the main body and the clone's identity. They could not help but be afraid. Green Feather King and Li Ziqing suddenly brought their divine aura and Tao artifacts' divine aura to the side of the sky. They laughed and said, "Kid, you are too slow. I am just asking them to pass on a message." Whoosh! When the two experts met in the sky, before the experts under the two realm overlords could react, they could only see the three figures when they looked up. We are actually unable to catch up. The green-robed man was ashamed. But a man suddenly appeared in the sky. He was also around 30 years old. He activated an origin treasure and chased after the three. It turned out to be the fifth expert hidden in the depths of the sky. Zhuotian Realm's world barrier was just above them. The three of them glanced down and saw that person chasing after them. Su Fang shouted in the sky, "I will give you a way to live, if you don't know what's good for you." The man coldly replied, "You can't run. You injured our people. Do you think you can leave like this? Zhuotian Realm is a place where you can come and go as you please? Unfortunately, the world barrier is just above us. We'll be able to fly out of the world barrier in less than 3 breaths. Li Ziqing shook his head disdainfully. Just like that, a breath suddenly arrived. In the eyes of the three people and the expert who was gradually being shaken off, the world barrier of the Zhuotian realm was getting closer and closer. Li Ziqing was right. In the second breath, they could clearly see the kiss marks and aura of the world barrier. In the next breath, the three of them would be able to leave the Zhuotian realm. As for the Xianjia Gate, it had nothing to do with them. Three cutting through the sky, the world barrier was already within reach. Buzz. In the blink of Tian realm, however, a world Xian light actually gently pushed the world barrier forwards like one was playing a zither. The barrier in front of them was really weird. The ground was far away. Su Fang, Green Feather King, and Li Ziqing's expressions changed. A bad premonition exploded in their eyes. Moreover, the three of them could see that it was not that the world barrier was far away from them, but that they were helplessly retreating. Yes, it was because the space they were in had suddenly jumped backward or solidified under some kind of natural force. In short, they felt that the space in front of them was indeed controlled by a shackling divine might. You want to leave Zhuotian realm just like that? It was a middle-aged man in a black robe. His eyes were cold, and his burly body contained an unknown amount of divine might. He sat on a throne formed by black clouds, and appeared right above the three of them and between the barrier of the world. With a calm and dominating gaze, he sized up the three of them from above. So powerful! Su Fang, Li Ziqing, and Green Feather King sensed that the black-robed middle-aged man's strength was indescribable. Su Fang released even more detailed senses. Suddenly, he sensed more auras. Not only does this person have Zhuotian realm's indescribable source energy, but he also has the very strong aura of the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Could this person be Zhuotian realm's master? Master. Quietly sensing, Su Fang, who was puzzled, suddenly heard Yu say, "This person's aura is 70 to 80% similar and merged with the dark forest that Master passed through." Back then, Yu followed Master to southern border and passed through the dark forest. He sensed it to a certain extent. Could this be? His breathing stopped abruptly. Su Fang looked at the black-robed man and the black clouds floating around him. Suddenly, two words appeared in his mind: Master Heiyun. Who was Master Heiyun? He was naturally the master of the dark forest, the king. After being surprised, he was even more puzzled. The Crimson Firmament continent and the Outer Realm Islands are quite far apart. How could Master Heiyun come here and shackle the entire Outer Realm Islands? Li Ziqing cupped his fist. Who are you? Could you be the current Zhuotian realm's master? You are an expert from Wu Tan realm and have some of Wu Tan realm's source energy on you. How dare you act so presumptuously in my Zhuotian realm? Unexpectedly, the black-robed man directly projected a hostile tone after Li Ziqing's polite greeting. This immediately angered Li Ziqing. Fortunately, he was an old antique and only indifferently replied, "Although I am a cultivator, I also have the freedom to go to any small world." The black-robed man majestically said, "Your freedom is of no importance to me. The two of you and a demon barged into the Zhuotian realm and wanted to obtain the Xianjia Gate. Because of you, my Zhuotian realm has barged into so many foreign powers. Now you even injured my disciple. Do you still think you can leave so easily?" Green Feather Monarch indifferently said, "What do you want to do? It's obvious that the three of you will stay in the Zhuotian realm and be suppressed by me for countless years. Seeing that I'm in a good mood, I can give you your freedom. You won't feel bored because all the foreign powers that barge into the Outer Realm Islands will have the fate of being suppressed in the Zhuotian realm. It seems that you insist on attacking us. Then there's no need to waste words between us. If you want to attack, then attack. Whether you are the realm master or not, we don't want to be manipulated by you." "Ha ha, how interesting!" The black-robed man suddenly raised his head and laughed. He then looked at Su Fang. "I have a bit of an impression of you. You have barged into my dark forest several times." Su Fang felt that all his secrets were about to be seen through. He secretly adjusted his breathing and didn't panic. He shouted in astonishment, "You really are Master Heiyun! You can still recognize me?" Master Heiyun was slightly stunned. "It's just as you said. I have passed through the dark forest several times, and each time, I have an unpleasant experience with the dark forest. Master Heiyun, you are an old antique, who has cultivated in the Zhuotian realm for countless years. As a junior, I can tell you the truth. Speak." This junior has no intention of obtaining the Xianjia Gate. If I really wanted to, I would have thought of a way to obtain it after entering the Xianjia Gate twice. Furthermore, I wouldn't have left the Tao artifact world so easily. Even so, I can't let you go. It's not that you don't want to obtain the Xianjia Gate, it's that you don't have the ability to obtain it. This Tao artifact belongs to the wealth of my Zhuotian realm. It's a part of this place, and only the people of the Zhuotian realm have the qualifications to touch it. From a certain point of view, you are selfishly touching the wealth of my Zhuotian realm. From now on, my Zhuotian realm will become the enemy of the Zhuotian realm. Master Heiyun was neither anxious nor slow. He explained in a heavy tone, especially the last sentence. When Su Fang heard this, he immediately understood with Green Feather King and Li Ziqing that there was no room for reconciliation or negotiation with this Master Heiyun. He immediately focused his gaze, but this junior is not willing to fall into senior's hands. Even if I have to offend the Zhuotian realm today, this junior will still leave this place. I can tell you, I, Master Heiyun, am not the Zhuotian realm master, but I am also the current Zhuotian realm master's last disciple. I am in charge of the affairs of the Zhuotian realm, so I have the authority to decide the life and death of any living being in the Zhuotian realm, as well as all the property. The three of you can stay here. Master Heiyun became mysterious and cold again. He suddenly waved his hand at the three of them, and a 5-finger imprint appeared in the air. Long World River. Kill! Green Feather King roared. The three of them immediately exploded with power, and waves of aura surged towards the surrounding sky. Boom! Boom! Sure enough, it was effective. A huge 5-finger suppressive barrier suddenly appeared in the invisible and empty sky. It was almost 100 miles long. It was too inconceivable. This was the extent of Master Heiyun's control over nature in the Zhuotian realm. If it was a distance away and controlled like this, even if it was a large force, the entire Tao field would instantly fall under the suppression of Master Heiyun. No wonder the extraterritorial islands were shackled by the barrier. The 5-finger seal was shaken out. When the three of them saw it, they instantly understood that if they didn't deal with Master Heiyun with all their strength, there would only be one outcome, and that would be to be suppressed by his palm. Master Heiyun's expression didn't change. He continued to sit on the black cloud throne. Each of you is very powerful, reaching the height of the current leader of the Zhuotian realm. Unfortunately, I am the ruler here, and you are not my opponent. Suppress. The 5 fingers grabbed the sky. The 5-finger imprint barrier suddenly grabbed from the surroundings to the inside. It was constantly shrinking from the outside to the inside. The smaller the area, the more terrifying the shackle's power was. Blessing of the world, Yin Yang Rakshasa sword. Su Fang directly flew towards Master Heiyun. They were separated by the 5-finger shackles. Master Heiyun was startled. You actually cultivated my Zhuotian realm. Such an astonishing world origin. Those experts under this seat can't be compared with you. Moreover, you have the aura of the Tianhu spirit tree in your body. Boom! Under Su Fang's powerful attack, 2 Nihility sword starstorms hit the barrier, and the shackles barrier almost shattered. Not enough. Waning Moon Scissors technique. Another old antique followed up with another attack. Li Ziqing Dao artifact actually appeared in his hands. The appearance of the Dao artifact was a pair of black scissors. As his hands moved, a sharp divine might of the Dao artifact attacked the barrier along with the Yin Yang Rakshasa sword. Li Ziqing was suppressed in the Xianjia Gate for 7,000 years. It was natural for him to obtain such a Dao artifact. Otherwise, how could he survive in the Xianjia Gate? Boom! This time, the Dao artifact and Li Ziqing's powerful strength, coupled with the residual power of Su Fang's previous attack, actually blasted a big hole in the 5-finger barrier. I underestimated you. Master Heiyun, who was as steady as Mount Tai before, suddenly shook. It suddenly floated into the air, and the black cloud thrown behind it disappeared. Whoosh! Whoosh! Su Fang, Green Feather King, and Li Ziqing forcefully flew out the five-finger imprint. However, the five-finger shackle's power still suppressed a large area of the sky. Breathing, qi, and flying were all affected to a certain extent. Who asked them to face a true peerless giant of the Zhuotian realm? Chapter 688. Sorcerer Heiyun chased from above. He waved his right arm, and the five-finger imprint shackled heaven and earth again. Divine image world. Tut, tut, tut. The five-finger imprint pressed down on the huge sky, causing all the airflow and clouds to be affected by gravity. They either fell down or scattered in the sky. The three powerful warriors couldn't control their auras and defenses. Following the shackles, the three of them fell like the clouds. It was as if the clouds had a devouring power, entangling the three of them and dragging them into a bottomless abyss. Green Feather King looked up coldly, his demonic qi dazzling. This person's control of the world's power is really terrifying. We can't think of escaping from Zhuotian realm. Li Ziqing was startled. Ping King is indeed so. The three of us can only join hands and fight with him. We can only leave Zhuotian realm if we defeat him or seriously injure him. Kill. Green Feather King made a prompt decision. He and Li Ziqing urged their aura, either shattering or burning, shaking the shackles around them until they disappeared. The two of them had reached the peak of the mortal world. They were not existences like the Realm Master or the Lord of Five Poisons, but they were not much weaker than the Lord of Five Poisons. In a breath's time their strength was displayed, and the shackles were broken, causing Sorcerer Heiyun to be especially furious. Do you want to fight with me? Just this world's divine ability has shackled you. In terms of strength, you are not my opponent at all in Zhuotian realm. Obediently follow me to the dark forest and be punished. After being locked up for countless years, there is still hope to leave. After Su Fang heard, he suddenly understood. So the dark forest is used to imprison cultivators who offended the current realm master, such as the one-horned demon Venerable. This person's world shackles are used in a miraculous manner, only by using a Tao artifact and using the strongest strength to shatter the divine power. This waning moon scissors is a Tao artifact I obtained by accident in Xianjia Gate. After so many years, I finally fused a part of it. Li Ziqing took the first step and took out the scissors from before. The black scissors felt like a pair of fire tongs. Waning moon scissors art. Streaks of Xian Guang shot into the waning moon scissors, and the Tao patterns burned. The waning moon scissors instantly soared into the sky and slashed at the distorted space above Li Ziqing. Immediately, the godly might of the scissors' Tao treasure rushed into the depths of the world's shackles. Rumbling sounds constantly came from the sky, as if the sky was being cut into pieces. The godly might of the shackles had clearly dissipated. Not enough. Tao artifact. Sorcerer Blackcloud was suppressing the godly might of the shattered world from above. The scissors Tao artifact was so overbearing that he could not help but change the way his hands were forming seals. The five-finger imprint below increased the pressure, and at the same time, a large number of chains crackled as they drilled into the compressed space, turning into chains with sharp blades. Shu Shu Clang Clang originally. He wanted to suppress Li Ziqing's Tao artifact attack first. Little does one know another peerless antique came from another direction, bypassing Li Ziqing and charging at him. A beam of immortal sword light shot out from the cyan demonic light. It seemed to be a living sword qi. It quickly, accurately, and fiercely hacked at one of the sharp chains. With just one slash, the chain was severed in the air, followed by the second chain. After the chain was broken, there was a series of explosions. Sorcerer Blackcloud was shaken, and more people rushed out from the surroundings. The mysterious Blackcloud was shocked. Another Tao artifact. Sorcerer Blackcloud, so the dark forest is under your control. In a breath, Green Feather King rushed to the top of the broken chains. As soon as he finished speaking, Sorcerer Blackcloud sneered strangely. Those broken chains with sharp blades shot out in the air, wanting to strangle Green Feather King. The latter threw out a sword, and a beam of sword light unceremoniously slashed out. Those chains were still weak under the godly might of the Tao artifact, and they exploded in a large area. Suddenly, Green Feather King's gaze focused on Sorcerer Blackcloud. "You want to use the godly might of the world to shackle us?" Sorcerer Blackcloud said majestically, "Of course. You broke into the Zhuotian realm and caused this world to be restless. If I don't punish you, how will I maintain order here in the future?" Heaven Lord Soul Sword. Only then did Green Feather King truly use his Tao artifact. In front of him, a real Heaven Lord Soul Sword appeared. Then, the Tao artifact flew in front, and Green Feather King followed behind, attacking Sorcerer Blackcloud. Boom! Boom! The Tao artifact was too powerful. Heaven Lord Soul Sword soared into the sky, shattering all the world's shackles and oppressive forces. The Tao artifact's godly might surpassed the world's godly might. Wherever Heaven Lord Soul Sword went, all the forces were shattered. Pring King is so powerful. Not far behind, Li Ziqing had also shattered a large portion of the godly might space. Seeing Green Feather King creating a huge hole in the sky, he was greatly shocked. Su Fang didn't make a move. He was waiting to see how powerful Sorcerer Blackcloud was. He saw it, but it was Green Feather King's method. In these 100 years, Senior Pring King probably used Ancient Flood Dragon Baguda's ability in the Tao artifact world to fuse with Heaven Lord Soul Sword. It's actually more terrifying than me fusing with the Divine Image Jade Annulus, especially far beyond Immortal Toad. In today's small world, probably only the Realm Lord, 6 Lords of Fertility, and Sorcerer Blackcloud are his opponent. How can I let you be above me? Heaven Lord Soul Sword was too domineering, and under the control of Green Feather Monarch, he was able to wield the incredible power of a Tao artifact. It actually shattered the power of the world controlled by Master Heiyun within a mile. If he still didn't make a move, Heaven Lord Soul Sword would kill his way to Sorcerer Blackcloud. What happened next finally made him realize how powerful the ruler of the Dark Forest, the master of the Zhuotian domain's origin was. "This is my territory. How dare you be so presumptuous?" Firmament Art, Supreme Ruler. Sorcerer Blackcloud's black robe suddenly moved without wind. His hands grabbed countless seals, twisting them in the air, and fusing them together perfectly. Boom! He was originally a few miles away from Green Feather King. But Sorcerer Blackcloud actually killed his way to the top of Heaven Lord Soul Sword in a breath's time. His palm strike contained an unparalleled shackle force. It felt like the sky above was pressing down on Heaven Lord Soul Sword. Boom! When it hit the top of Heaven Lord Soul Sword, it was so powerful that it actually slowed down Heaven Lord Soul Sword. The godly might of the Tao artifact was full of pressure. It was like there was a wall in the sky. This wall was controlled by Sorcerer Blackcloud. It was more like a shield, formed by Sorcerer Blackcloud's godly might and his own mystical ability. That was why he could fight against Heaven Lord Soul Sword head-on. If it was a Qinggrade Tao artifact, if it collided with Heaven Lord Soul Sword head-on, it would definitely be shattered by the Tao artifact, unless it was a peerless treasure that was close to a Tao artifact. That was why Sorcerer Blackcloud's current strength had completely reached the peak of the small world. That was why he could fight against Heaven Lord Soul Sword head-on. So powerful. Just like that. Green Feather King, Li Ziqing, and Su Fang really knew how strong Sorcerer Blackcloud was. One had to know that the attack just now was already an unparalleled existence in the small world. Su Fang came to Li Ziqing's side, but the latter shook his head. "I guess this Sorcerer Blackcloud must be a subordinate of Realm Lord Zhuotian. He's a peerless expert who fused the power of the world into his mystical ability. His mystical ability, and the power of the world made his attack as vast as the natural power of heaven and earth. Su Fang was very sure. Senior Rock King has been shackled in the Xianjia Gate for 100 years. He should have fought with powerful experts. Therefore, no matter how much advantage Sorcerer Blackcloud has, as long as he doesn't have the strength and means of an immortal, he can't suppress Rock King. Shackle oppression. Sorcerer Blackcloud's palms grabbed out countless Xian Guang seals and hit Heaven Lord's soul sword. What a peerless expert of the present age! Seeing this, Su Fang, Li Ziqing, and Green Feather King were all moved. Sorcerer Blackcloud was actually fighting against a Dao artifact like this. Wasn't this a scene that only happened in the large world? Because only immortals could fight against a Dao artifact head-on. Moreover, it was a Dao artifact like Heaven Lord's Soul Sword, which was mainly used for attacking. Pa, pa, pa. Any mystical ability palm force blasted Heaven Lord's Soul Sword slower and slower. At this moment, the power of the Dao artifact couldn't surpass Sorcerer Blackcloud's aura. Green Feather King saw this scene from below. Although he was shocked, he didn't panic. Because this didn't mean that Sorcerer Blackcloud could defeat him. The green demonic light kept urging Heaven Lord's Soul Sword. And this Dao artifact was not an ordinary Dao artifact. At this moment, it displayed a strange attacking method. It was like a living person. It felt like it wanted to avoid Sorcerer Blackcloud's frontal attack. With a swish, it attacked from behind Sorcerer Blackcloud. Clang! Sorcerer Blackcloud's whole body suddenly activated a solid defense. This bought him time. After a few breaths, Sorcerer Blackcloud's entire defense was shattered by Heaven Lord's Soul Sword. Sorcerer Blackcloud himself used his teleportation ability and appeared in another sky. Li Ziqing exclaimed again, really powerful. Without using a Dharma artifact, he can block the attack of a Dao artifact with just his defense. If Rock King isn't absolutely confident, I have to go and support him immediately. Su Fang sneered. Senior, we are not gentlemen. Sorcerer Blackcloud is not a gentleman either. Of course, we are not villains either. What do you mean? Why can't we attack him now? If we continue fighting like this, he has the power of a world. The most terrifying thing is that if Realm Lord Zhuotian appears, then even if the three of us have Dao artifacts, it will be difficult to deal with him. Let's try to defeat Sorcerer Blackcloud and leave this place as soon as possible. I understand. Li Ziqing, this old antique, at this moment, in front of Su Fang, revealed a hale and hearty gaze. After nodding, he immediately activated the power of the Dao artifact. Su Fang said again, I am already activating the instant space ring. Although my Zhuotian realm's world power is not as good as Sorcerer Blackcloud's, as long as I activate the instant space ring, I can seize the opportunity and fly out of Zhuotian realm when Sorcerer Blackcloud can't react. This made Li Ziqing couldn't help but show an expression of admiration towards Su Fang. Looking at the sky above, there was a continuous sound of collision. It felt like a rhythmic movement. In a breath, he flew from the periphery to the high sky where the battle was taking place. In the center of the explosion, Sorcerer Blackcloud and Heaven Lord's Soul Sword exchanged blows several times. Sorcerer Blackcloud had the power of a world and was powerful. He had the advantage of time and place. However, Heaven Lord's Soul Sword was a Dao artifact. Under Green Feather King's activation, it could attack at will. For a time, neither side could do anything to the other. But overall, Sorcerer Blackcloud still had the initiative. And at this moment, Heaven Lord's Soul Sword made another strange attack. The speed was strange. From the side, Heaven Lord's Soul Sword was like a living person, crashing into Sorcerer Blackcloud's defense. It shook Sorcerer Blackcloud until he kept retreating. He gritted his teeth. His heart had already fallen into a state of turbulence. He was secretly shocked. What an expert! Could it be that I have to take out my Dharma treasure, or even Tao artifact to suppress these three people. They are not realm lords, nor are they immortals. They can actually put me in such a predicament. Whoosh! In the twists and turns, a few distorted and sharp Tao artifacts' power, under the attack of Heaven Lord's soul sword in front, made it impossible for Sorcerer Blackcloud to use more abilities. It hit Sorcerer Blackcloud's back. All right. Behind, Li Ziqing held the waning moon scissors and shouted, "Let's go!" A godly power that seemed to be able to travel through the world, penetrated by Su Fong and Green Feather King's phantoms. It was like a sky curtain that pulled Li Ziqing into it. This sky curtain immediately flew to the sky. In the blink of an eye, it passed through Zhuotian Realm's world barrier. Chapter 689. Worldly Star-Plucking Hand. Suddenly Sorcerer Heiyun, who was struck by the divine might of the Tao tool, was caught in the explosion. Please move away. It was as if he had fallen into the demonic path. His hair was disheveled, and he ignored the power of the explosion. He stood in the explosion, and the power of the explosion destroyed his body. Suddenly, the burning power of countless worlds surged in the surroundings. Sorcerer Heiyun furiously grabbed at the burning power of the world with his right hand. Suddenly, the world's power turned into a giant hand that pierced through the sky. It was unknown when it had reached the world barrier of the Zhuotian realm. Zhuotian realm, in front of the barrier. Less than 100 li then 10 li then. The sky curtain was about to fly out of the Zhuotian realm. Su Fong, Green Feather King, and Li Ziqing in the sky curtain could almost touch the barrier. Who knew? Su Fong suddenly turned around and looked down, his eyes filled with shock. Green Feather King and Li Ziqing also looked down, but they did not see anything. They only felt that there was a distorted phenomenon in the depths of the sky below. Because the two of them could not use the world's power. Su Fong was different. Not only did he control the source of the Zhuotian realm, but he also controlled a large amount of it. Therefore, under his gaze, in the depths of the distorted sky, there was actually a giant hand with 5 fingers. Moreover, wherever the giant hand went, there would be handprints. Moreover, through the control and use of the world, the giant hand had already grasped the inner region of the world barrier they were in. It was as if this hand was going to make all their previous efforts go to waste. This giant hand was going to suppress them and keep them in the Zhuotian realm forever. Then I'll let you see how powerful my yin-yang Rakshasa sword is. This divine ability is not a form. It is an existence that can fuse with other laws and powers. Su Fong also made his move. In the eyes of the two experts beside him, he was just a bored person who wanted to unleash his aura to vent his anger on the empty sky. The two divine might immediately turned into sword stars and shot out. Yin-yang Rakshasa sword. When this divine ability was shot out, it contained an intense limitless Tao technique, the divine might of the world's power, and then the ethereal truth, as well as Su Fong's own mysterious power. In the end, they fused into 2 sword star void storms and penetrated downwards, falling into the empty sky. Boom, boom, boom! Suddenly, a large area of the sky below exploded. Yue giant hand visible to the naked eye emerged from the explosion and crushed the yin-yang Rakshasa sword. The giant hand grabbed the entire exploding sky with its 5 fingers. But at this moment, Su Fong and the other 2 were in the sky canopy, but they were not affected at all. They turned from nothingness into reality and passed through the sky canopy. Boom! After forcefully passing through the world barrier of the Zhuotian realm, the 3 of them finally flew out of the Zhuotian realm. Impossible! The furious wizard Heiyun arrived above the frozen hand in the sky. Standing on the finger, he was filled with disbelief. My star-plucking hand clearly hit the 3 of them. Amidst the divine might, I saw the 3 of them being hit and then restrained by the star-plucking hand. Why do I only sense the aura of that brat and the 3 of them? You actually managed to escape from the Zhuotian realm after being intercepted by me. What kind of divine ability is that? No, is it some sort of camouflage technique? Could it be that it's the same Dao technique as my star-seizing hand? Su Fang, if it wasn't for your world divine might, you probably wouldn't have been able to dodge my star-picking hand. Cough, cough. After a series of angry shouts, Wizard Heiyun's body shook as he spat out a mouthful of blood. He looked at the blood and then at the starry sky outside of the Zhuotian realm. I have not been injured for tens of thousands of years. Remember this, I will not let you off. From now on, if you enter my Zhuotian realm again, only death awaits you. Lord! The 5 great experts were now in front of Wizard Heiyun, each of them cowering. Wizard Heiyun still had the bearing of a ruler. He did not lose his mind due to the great thunder and stood with his hands behind his back. A part of the enchantment of the Outer Realm Islands was broken by the 3 of them. There should be some cultivators who took the opportunity to escape from the Outer Realm Island. Don't kill as you wish anymore. Secretly, don't let those powerhouses go. Also, don't let any cultivators from other small worlds go. Suppress them all and send them to the dark forest to be suppressed. I don't want everyone to know that I was the one who did it in the dark. We will activate those puppets and do this secretly. The 5 great experts suddenly flew downward. Seems like I have to ambush some special forces in the Outer Realm Island. In the future, if there is any movement in the Xianjia Gate, I have to be the first to know. I can't let this happen again. Wizard Heiyun rolled up, turned into a black cloud, and broke through the sky. However, on the opposite side of the sky, behind the world barrier, there was a deep galaxy. An immortal light flickered and shuttled through the galaxy. It seemed that the person in the immortal light was also skilled. It turned out to be 7-Star Child and Huang Lingyao, as well as Lan Haiqing, who was being led like a dog. After staring for a moment, Huang Lingyao asked curiously, "Senior, why didn't you approach the sky earlier? The Outer Realm Islands are right below. Maybe the powerhouse who caused such a big movement is related to the Xianjia Gate." It turned out that they secretly sensed the movement caused by the fight between Su Fang and the other 2, and Wizard Heiyun. 7-Star Child nodded majestically. With such a strong world origin, even if it's not Realm Lord Zhuotian, it's still a powerhouse under the Realm Lord. Even if it's related to the Xianjia Gate, I can't show myself. Once I show myself, there might be a battle between me and Realm Lord Zhuotian. Maybe Su Fang is also among them. Huang Lingyao sighed regretfully. If there's really such a person, it means that he's lucky. However, I didn't sense any of his aura, so it's probably not him. His strength hasn't reached such a heaven-defying level yet. Continue to sense the movement of the Xianjia Gate. 7-Star Child ordered Huang Lingyao. Then, under 7-Star Child's control, they slowly floated in the galaxy outside the Zhuotian realm along with the immortal light. Buzz. Who knew? Just a while later, Huang Lingyao secretly released a faint young nascent aura. She was immediately shocked and hurriedly bowed to 7-Star Child. Just now, Zunv Pavilion's Grand Elder Ning Kong sent a message saying that she's now in the Outer Realm Islands. Those cultivators said that Su Fang has escaped from the Xianjia Gate and are now looking for him. What a coincidence! 7-Star Child's jaw dropped. He, who was experienced and astute, had been waiting for Su Fang to appear. In the end, Huang Lingyao continued, "There are other rumors saying that Su Fang didn't escape from the Xianjia Gate alone. There's another person, and they joined forces to kill the 2 major forces from the Primordial God World and the Immortal Primordial World. The Primordial God World is an empire force. In my era, they were an overlord. They had a Dao artifact foundation and were prosperous. They're not easy to deal with. The Immortal Primordial World isn't simple either. That realm lord back then had invincible Dao technique. The Doichi that was passed down was created by that realm lord single-handedly. I heard that at that time, That realm lord had been in contact with the immortals of the great world. It's not surprising that these two major forces also want the Xianjia Gate. There are many forces from the small worlds this time, but they're dreaming if they want to snatch the Xianjia Gate from the Zhuotian realm. Huang Lingyao, take the puppet I condensed and immediately sneak into the Outer Realm Islands. Secretly find Su Fong for me. 7-star child grabbed the void, and a large number of runes appeared. Huang Lingyao couldn't resist, and was implanted into her mind. The latter immediately entered the Zhuotian realm. The remaining 7-star child was still wary of the realm lord. He could only wait for accurate news and succeed in one fell swoop. ******************************************** In the starry sky, the spirit mist world was ahead. A heavenly ship slowly followed the trajectory of the Star River, avoiding the terrifying nebulas, star sand, and even interstellar turbulence as it gradually approached the spirit mist world. Inside, Su Fong, Green Feather King, and Li Ziqing were sitting cross-legged at the top. Below them were Red Lotus Great Elder, Guang Zhao Sage King, Song Hao, and the other top 10 experts. 9-section Earth Dragon, Su Yaotian, and Hua Qianji were cultivating on the other side. Top 10 experts, there was one more, Qin Yuanhou. Qin Yuanhou wasn't happy. Although he was cultivating, his eyes were filled with hostility towards Su Fong. The three of them had escaped from the Star River from the Zhuotian realm for half a year. After cultivating in the heavenly ship for half a year, the three of them had recovered a little, but they were still far from the peak. However, they were very relaxed after coming to the Star River. Even if Master Heiyun came, he wouldn't be able to threaten them. The Star River wasn't something that humans could control. No one had an advantage here. The three of them all had Dao artifacts, so why would they be afraid of Master Heiyun? Li Ziqing suddenly looked at the spirit mist world. Kid, you have to be very careful if you want to go there. Didn't 7-star child go there personally to find you? He also didn't have a good relationship with the 6 lords of fertility. We've already discussed it. We'll go to the Heaven Dipper realm and rest there before coming back to deal with the Xinyuan Empire and snatch the human emperor world. Before leaving, I still have many things to take care of, especially the Heaven Crossing sect. It's doing well now, and I plan to continue working with the Lush continent. Since the 6 lords of fertility can scare away immortals and save you once, it's indeed worth working with them. Green Feather King heard about Su Fong's encounter in the spirit mist world and agreed. About half a month later, Su Fong and his father left the heavenly ship. They flew for a while before arriving outside the spirit mist world. While waiting, Su Fong said with relief, "Father, I obtained a mother spirit gourd from Prince Shui. I gave it to the Leech King and the Water Snake Big Goblin to protect. When you go back, you can directly merge with it. Having a spirit gourd will be of great help to my cultivation." Father really wants to go to the Heaven Dipper realm and the Origin God realm with you. Su Yaotian sighed with reluctance. Forget it. I'm very clear about my strength. When I'm strong enough, I'll go with Fong. After chatting for a while, Su Fong came to the world barrier and opened a path. He first let Su Yaotian enter the spirit mist world before shooting out a ray of light. Su Ting, Su Junyan, Su Xiaolong, Su Yi, and hundreds of other family members entered the spirit mist world one by one. Not only did they release the rescued family Su members, but they also released more than 1,000 people. They were part of the cultivators who had been suppressed this time. Their strength ranged from the Ascension realm to the Tribulation realm. They left Su Yaotian in charge. In the future, not only would he have to refine pills in the Heaven Crossing sect, but he would also be responsible for protecting the Dao grounds. Father, this rune talisman contains a lot of energy. First is the immortal energy that I refined. The family members can cultivate without restrictions. If the Heaven Crossing sect cultivators perform great deeds, the family members can use it as a reward. This way they will be even more loyal. The Heaven Crossing sect can be managed by Wang Zhong, Gu Shizhen, Lu Yuan, Devil King Shangzuan, and Luan Mo. They have no disloyalty to me. Su Fang took out another rune talisman. The other energy is Yang energy. It's the foundation of refining the Yang strengthening pill. This time, I left behind a lot of Yang energy. It's enough for me to refine pills for 100 years. Because I'm going to the distant origin God realm, immortal primordial realm, and heaven dipper realm, I don't know when I'll be able to refine pills again. After giving out some instructions, he watched them fly into the depths of the spirit mist world. Then, he activated another ray of energy. Not long after, Li Haojie flew out of the spirit mist world and met up with Su Fang. Then, he flew towards the heavenly ship alone. Not long after, a beautiful figure leisurely flew over from the spirit mist world. It was one of the people in charge of the abundant lush continent's Chamber of Commerce, Yu Yingying. After fighting with Seven-Star Child, Su Fang no longer underestimated this woman. She was so young, but she was even stronger than Heartless Granny. He wondered how she managed to cultivate such shocking strength. Chapter 690. When Yu Yingying saw Su Fang, she immediately stepped out of the spirit mist world. Behind the river of stars, Yu Yingying's dress fluttered, her figure graceful and moving. Some time ago, I heard that you were forced to escape into the Xianjia Gate by the Zunv Pavilion, causing a storm in the Zhuotian world. Even many factions in the spirit mist world secretly sent experts over. Yu Yingying looked at Su Fang in shock. I heard that tens of thousands of experts chased you into the Xianjia Gate. Seems like you escaped from the Xianjia Gate again. My luck is good. I was once again blessed by the heavens. My luck is good and I managed to survive. However, I have offended many enemies, including the Zhuotian realm's realm lord. I have no choice but to temporarily leave this star field and head to the distant and unknown Star River to gain experience and improve my strength. Su Fang bowed sincerely. I will have to trouble Lord to take care of the Sky Crossing sect during this period of time. I have already asked many experts to join, and my pill refining speed will increase. Before I leave, I am most worried about this. When it comes to luck, if you claim to be number 1, no one can claim to be number 2. Last time, you almost caused my master to fight with Seven-Star Child. He is an immortal, a true immortal with flesh and blood. If he really fought with my master in the bountiful continent, the entire small world would be destroyed. Now you've offended the Zhuotian world. I owe you and Senior Lu Master a huge favor. I will remember it. If they are my enemies, I will also remember it clearly. Your cultivation is not high, and your strength is not strong, but no one can compare to your temperament. Take care. After leaving the spirit mist world, everything will depend on whether you have luck to protect you. Yu Yingying turned around. You don't have to worry about the Sky Crossing sect. Unless the spirit mist world changes its name, no one will be able to touch it. Su Fang stammered and scratched his head. I wanted to thank you again, but I feel that I have said too much. It is too fake. Lord, take care. Just like in the past, Yu Yingying left in a hurry and disappeared into the spirit mist world. It was as if there was a weight in his heart. He felt relieved and at ease, but he felt like something was holding him down and he could not relax. No matter who it was, they would feel uneasy leaving their loved ones in the hands of others. After returning to the heavenly ship, Li Haojie waited outside the array formation. The two of them came to the depths of the array and saw that everyone was cultivating. After Su Fang and Li Hao sat down, Su Fang said earnestly, Brother Li, think carefully. You could have stayed here and fought against the Xinyuan Empire with me. You might have been in mortal danger. Li Haojie's personality was still the same. He said whatever was on his mind. I wanted to go with you to the Xianjia Gate last time. This time, I can't have any regrets. It's all thanks to you that I was able to suppress Aojian. Recently, my strength has increased greatly due to dual cultivation, and I've comprehended many ancient demon-catching techniques. Even if I can't deal with the Xinyuan Empire, I can still help you suppress the big goblin. Alright, then it's decided. However, that Aojian is truly worthy of being called the Holy Maiden. I can already sense that your aura contains the shocking power of a Tao item. Continue cultivating on the heavenly airship. I have something good for you as well. This is the quintessence of an immortal, which I infused into the impotence pill. It contains immortal blood essence and true qi, and is at a level that mortals can refine. Since Li Haojie was so determined, Su Fang had nothing else to say. After chatting for a while, he let Li Haojie start cultivating and gave him 10 immortal blood essence pills. During this time, he had already separated the corpses, blood, and true qi from the immortal corpses into countless portions. This would make it easier for everyone to cultivate. When he was ready to cultivate, he would overlook the peerless experts in the formation. He would have absolute confidence in taking back the mortal emperor world in the future, unlike when he went to the Xinyuan Empire, where he had no confidence at all. Now that he had a foundation, he was naturally confident. The heavenly airship sailed through the Star River, slowly passing through the Lingmeng realm. They could see planet Qilian, the Baichen Zone, and other small worlds. They could even see the Wu Tan realm in the distant Star River. Su Fang was like everyone else, meditating. Although the Star River was empty and cold, there was still some natural spirit qi. In addition, with the immortal blood essence, various spiritual items, and resources, everyone's strength was slowly increasing. In addition, they had just gone through a life and death tribulation at the Xianjia Gate, so they needed some time to settle down. I'm about to break through from the 7th level of calamity to the 8th level of calamity. The Wu Tan realm is in the Star River ahead of us. 7-Star Child would never expect that I'm at the periphery of the Wu Tan realm. To pass the tribulation, we have to go back to the small worlds. There are a few small worlds further away from the Wu Tan realm. I should bring everyone there and pass the tribulation to buy some resources. Traveling through the Star River for a long time is unbearable, even for cultivators. Unknowingly, a few years had passed. The heavenly airship had left the Wu Tan realm and was approaching a small world called the Crimson Star realm. The reason why they chose the Crimson Star realm was because of Li Ziqing's suggestion. The Crimson Star realm was deeper in the Star River than the Wu Tan realm. It was not just the Crimson Star realm around. Li Ziqing had been to these small worlds before and was more or less familiar with the situation. It was convenient for everyone to cultivate. They were not going to the Xinyuan Empire, but the Tiangang realm. They did not know how far it was, so they needed to stop in a small world for a while. Su Fang had already activated the rune talisman and sent his thoughts to Bai Ling, but the other party had not replied. It was enough to show how far the Tiangang realm was. The Crimson Star realm gradually came into view. There were a few small worlds around it, but the Crimson Star realm immediately attracted Su Fang's attention. Most of it was covered by flames and starlight. Sacred King Guangzhou, Elder Songhao, and the others were not unfamiliar with the Crimson Star realm. They had either been here before or understood this planet. When the heavenly airship arrived in front of the boundary of the world, everyone flew out of the heavenly airship and passed through the boundary, entering the Crimson Star realm's sky. Su Fang was the last to enter. He immediately felt a sense of security. Even with the heavenly airship, they were still in the Star River that humans could not control. This land with life and energy was the habitat of life. Soon, everyone came to the land and entered the majestic sea of forests. In reality, many of them were going to pass the tribulation. Su Fang created the boundary again and released the tens of thousands of strong cultivators. As soon as they appeared, some people attracted the heavenly tribulation. Worried that it would destroy the boundary, Su Fang let the strong cultivators who were going to pass the tribulation go further away. Tens of thousands of strong cultivators. It was not easy for Su Fang to sense and control so many people all at once. Fortunately, he had the true demon blood plate and the divine image jade annulus to support the shackles and the imprints planted in their bodies. Otherwise, how could a cultivator have such a powerful yang soul to control so many strong cultivators? After waiting for a few years, he secretly spied on everyone. When he found no abnormalities, he let King Ping guard here while he went deeper into the Star River. Coincidentally, he came to the water region. According to the map of the Crimson Star Realm, this was not the habitat of the Crimson Star Realm's cultivators. It was the perfect place to pass the tribulation. After setting up the boundary, he let a few commanders come out secretly and hide to protect him. Soon, special tribulations gathered. The 8 levels of catastrophe is nothing. I reached the 7 levels of catastrophe a long time ago. This little bit of catastrophe is nothing. I can break it one by one. The catastrophe became bigger and bigger. It was like an ocean with tens of thousands of horses galloping. For a moment it covered the sky. Then came the ear-piercing sound of galloping, burning, and storms. The surrounding catastrophe chi kept falling. When it came into contact with the defense and aura, it tried to break through but was shattered by the defense. Whoosh! A catastrophe that contained strong thunder, and fire descended. This was the first level of catastrophe. Leaping into the sky, he didn't need to make a move. His divine power exploded and he displayed his newly comprehended supreme Tao technique, the Yin-Yang Rakshasa sword. When the first level of catastrophe arrived above, it was pounced on by several sword stars. It felt like those ethereal sword stars were as strong as bulls. The first level of catastrophe was shattered into countless fragments. Even if it contained thunder and fire, it couldn't be Su Fang's opponent. The second level was 2 burning catastrophe fires, which were formed by strong earth fire. Su Fang still displayed his supreme Tao technique's divine power. The Yin-Yang Rakshasa sword strangled it. And this time, the Yin-Yang Rakshasa sword was also a sword star, but it was formed by the illusory fire cloud. They were all fire cloud sword stars. Turning the hand over to create clouds and turning the hand over to create rain. The Yin-Yang Rakshasa sword could use demonic chi, and immortal power as the foundation to transform into attacking sword stars containing different powers. It could also transform into an attacking storm like a dragon snake. Even if the 5 poisons true chi was integrated into the profound meaning of this Tao technique, the Yin-Yang Rakshasa sword would also have the indescribable power of the 5 poisons. Even the blood hell wolf smoke could be integrated into it. The following 3rd to 7th level of catastrophe were so easily broken. When the 8th level of catastrophe descended, half of the power of the entire heavenly tribulation was absorbed. Su Fang immediately integrated the dragon snake roll into the Yin-Yang Rakshasa sword Tao technique. In an instant, the Yin-Yang Rakshasa sword formed a madly rotating sword star storm. Like a dragon, like a snake from a distance, it looked like dragons and snakes coiled in the sky, biting and fighting each other. As expected, the 8th level of catastrophe hit the storm of Yin-Yang Rakshasa sword. On the spot, with the power of the ruler of catastrophe, the storm was suppressed and shook down. But then, the Yin-Yang Rakshasa sword took the initiative, and the strangling power was fully displayed. Among the attack forms, sword, spear, arrow, and other forms were the most terrifying existence in attack power and destructive power. Combining the forms of the sword to form countless sword stars, this was the attack method of the Yin-Yang Rakshasa sword. Su Fang also knew the horror of the flying sword attack, so he turned the sword into the attack form of the Yin-Yang Rakshasa sword. Therefore, countless sword stars shot out, and a hole was opened in the middle of the 8th level of catastrophe. The sword star storm was like a monster tearing apart the power of the catastrophe. This attack of mine is not an ordinary divine ability. It contains the power of heaven and earth, and its destructive power is at the level of grand elders. Seeing this, Su Fang showed a gratified and satisfied smile. Some special aura of catastrophe fell from the sky as the 8th level of catastrophe was shattered. His physical body crazily absorbed it, making the aura of catastrophe in his body stronger. The higher the realm of a catastrophe cultivator, the stronger the aura of catastrophe would be. This was the standard by which cultivators judged and sensed the strength of a catastrophe cultivator. While absorbing the aura of the heavenly tribulation, the physical body welcomed a huge promotion. The shattering power was like the power of marrow cleansing, from the top of the head to the bottom of the head, from the inside to the outside, and from the outside to the inside, forming a small circulation that constantly attacked the physical body. When the catastrophe in the sky gradually dissipated, all the aura of catastrophe disappeared. Su Fang's skin was white and tender, and his hair had returned to its original black color, but it was not as smooth as before. Passing the tribulation could break the shackles of life and increase one's lifespan. However, when dealing with the shackles of the immortal formation last time, it consumed a shocking amount of life force. Obviously, after breaking through to the 8th level of catastrophe, it was still a bit away from fully recovering. Fortunately, this did not affect him too much. At this time, Su Fang had stepped from the 7th level of catastrophe to the 8th level. He did not need to follow the law of cultivation like ordinary cultivators to condense a golden core again. He was a void dust, and after passing the tribulation, it was the same as stepping into the 8th level of catastrophe. After devouring the blood of immortals and resources, in less than 2 years, the energy stored in the Xianjia Gate allowed him to reach the 8th level of catastrophe. It was easy for him to condense Tao and divine abilities. Chapter 691. After cultivating for a while, he raised many of the seals and defenses in his body to the 8th layer of calamity. He wanted to comprehend a few more great techniques, but suddenly a thought came to him. Look, please move. He was pleasantly surprised, thinking that Bai Ling had responded. It turned out not to be the case. But the person who came was also one of the people he was waiting for. Sister Yu. After a few breaths, he returned to the sky above the forest. Heavenly tribulations kept appearing around him. 5 poisons true qi came down from the sky of the Crimson Star realm. Even if this wasn't the Zhuotian realm and Su Fang didn't have the origin, he could still sense the aura of the sky with his current strength. When he came to the sky, he met the black-clothed and masked Sister Yu. 2 other experts came with her, but they were waiting in the clouds. Sister Yu looked at Su Fang, then immediately looked at the vast forest. Why are there so many people undergoing tribulations below? I suppressed those experts and cultivated in the Tao artifact space for too long. That's why I had the chance to break through, Su Fang replied. Master and I sensed your thoughts and were shocked. You escaped from the Xianjia Gate again. It seems that the Xinyuan Empire and Doichi are trapped in the Xianjia Gate. You're really something. Unfortunately, my divine sect isn't in a good situation right now. We're being entangled by a large number of experts from the Doichi and Xinyuan Empire. The divine sect didn't suffer any great losses, right? We've fought several times and many experts have died. But with Master overseeing things, it didn't have much of an impact. Master is breaking through the last few obstacles and will be able to recover his former strength. Do you need something from me? Sister Yu changed the topic and looked at Su Fang. Su Fang said, I'm going to find the Heavenly Dipper realm. It might take a lot of time. Once I return, I'll prepare to deal with the Xinyuan Empire. I called Sister Yu just to tell you about it. The Heavenly Dipper realm is a very distant small world, and no cultivator from our galaxy has ever been there before. I estimate that with your speed, it will take you many years to come and go, and I don't know if the Heavenly Dipper realm is moving. If it is, it will be even more difficult for you to find it. I need to find a place to hide from the immortals, then recuperate and recover my strength. I need to prepare to deal with the Xinyuan Empire and take back the human sovereign world. I'm afraid you don't have much time. It's best if you come back as soon as possible. He Shishing. Just a few years ago, not long after you entered the Xianjia Gate, we received an important piece of news. This is also the reason why I came to see you this time. The Xinyuan Empire discovered a 1,000-meter-long geocentric source energy stone spirit vein in the mortal emperor world. A 1,000-meter primordial stone spirit vein. His entire body trembled as if it had been struck by lightning. The hairs on his body instantly stood on end. Even a small piece of the origin source stone was a supreme treasure. Many cultivators who obtained a small piece would be able to cultivate for a lifetime. The 1,000-meter-long origin source energy stone spirit vein was much bigger than the soul essence spirit vein that Su Fang had obtained from the heavenly gourd realm. Su Fang's skin was so tense that it was about to tear. Such a huge origin source energy stone spirit vein is probably not many in the human sovereign world. It must have been formed in the depths of the human sovereign world. Was it taken away by the Xinyuan Empire? Sister, you said apologetically, because the last time you took the inheritance, the human sovereign world was shackled by layers of shackles, and the spies of the divine sect were unable to go inside to investigate. The Xinyuan Empire is also a secret, and not many people know about it. From the looks of it, it will soon be dug out and taken away, and the Empire will refine it and forcefully help the third prince fuse with it. Once he fuses with that origin source energy stone spirit vein, the third prince's world power will probably be on par with yours. At that time, if you don't return, the human sovereign world will once again fall into the hands of the Xinyuan Empire, so you have to hurry. I'm not going to the Heavenly Dipper realm. Su Fang snorted. That's right, if you don't go to the Heavenly Dipper realm, you will not be a match for the Xinyuan Empire. I want to see the cult master to discuss how to deal with the Xinyuan Empire. I'll have to trouble Sister Yu to activate the imprint and let me communicate with the cult master directly. Alright. Seeing Su Fang suddenly so persistent and determined, Sister Yu seemed to understand what kind of state he was in now. She formed an imprint, and a special primordial spirit door slowly appeared. About 3 breaths later, from the depths of the door came the thoughts of the Lord of 5 Poisons, Su Fang. Su Fang said with utmost respect, "Senior, I just found out about the primordial stone spirit vein. I feel that if I continue to wait, even if the Xinyuan Empire cannot obtain the human emperor world, it will destroy the world's natural source and turn the human emperor world into a destroyed planet." The Lord of 5 Poisons pondered for a moment, and his thoughts were bleak. You can't wait, but you have to wait. The cult is in the most important bottleneck period. Once we pass it, we can recover almost 90% of our strength back then. At that time, we will have the strength to help you truly take back the human emperor world. If you force yourself to go now, it will only be a small matter. Actually, I have already obtained the capital to deal with the Xinyuan Empire at the Xianjia Gate this time. Is that so? I wanted to wait until I recovered my strength before personally meeting the cult master to discuss this matter. It seems that I can't wait anymore. I deliberately let a large number of forces and experts enter the Xianjia Gate. In the end, tens of thousands of people entered, and 1/3 of them were suppressed by me. Most of them were Feather Transformation Realm and Catastrophe Realm experts. For example, the Xinyuan Empire's Marquis Qin Yuanho, Guangzhou Sage Monarch, and Deutschi's Elder Tsang Hao. In total, there were 10,000 people. You brat. In the depths of the door of the primordial spirit, Although the Lord of Five Poisons could not be seen, after Su Fang finished speaking, it was not difficult to guess how shocked the Lord of Five Poisons was. Sister Yu, who was at the side, shuddered. Her eyes were full of disbelief. Ha ha! The domineering laughter of the Lord of Five Poisons suddenly sounded from the door. It was very familiar to Su Fang. I set a big trap previously. Everything went according to plan. I suppressed and killed many cultivators. At present, I have dozens of experts who have the strength of the Great Elder. With these 10,000 people added together, their overall strength is not comparable to the Doichi or the Xinyuan Empire. But Su Fang's tone suddenly lengthened. At this moment, everything around him seemed to have frozen. It is enough to launch a surprise attack on the experts of the Xinyuan Empire in the Renhuang world. The Renhuang world is not far from the Xinyuan Empire. I believe that the number of experts that the Xinyuan Empire has hidden in the Renhuang world is at most similar to the 10,000 experts under my command. In addition, I have also obtained the inheritance of the Renhuang world's master. Even if the Xinyuan Empire is much stronger than me, I still have a 50% chance of severely damaging the Xinyuan Empire in the Renhuang world. Master! Even Sister Yu's Lingtong was shocked. The thought of the Lord of Five Poisons finally came, full of praise. Good boy, you are really something. It turns out that you have already obtained such great benefits. That Marquis Qin Yuanho is one of the most powerful marquises in the Xinyuan Empire. The strength of the Xinyuan Empire in the Renhuang world is actually similar to the strength that you have now. Strike while the iron is hot. This time, I will lead half of the forces under my command to secretly go to the Renhuang world with you. This way, you will have an 80% chance of success. I originally wanted to find a place to rest for a while before coming back to deal with the Xinyuan Empire. With absolute confidence in his heart, Su Fang was overjoyed. With the cooperation of the Five Poisons Divine Sect, the chances of success were more than 80%. I will come to the Crimson Star world now. You come back and take charge. When the plan is implemented, you will arrange everything in the sect. Yes. The door of the primordial spirit disappeared immediately. After Sister Yu cupped her fists to Su Fang, she immediately flew away under the protection of the two experts. When she returned to the boundary of the forest, she told the news and the plan to Lord Greenfeather, Li Ziqing, and Li Haojie. After a discussion, everyone unanimously agreed that the Renhuang world should be taken back from the Xinyuan Empire. They could not lose a small world. With the result, everyone continued to cultivate while waiting for the Lord of Five Poisons. The 8th Yang Meridian that is being attacked is burning. This is a sign that the condensation is about to succeed. After cultivating for less than a few months, Su Fang, who was deep in the array, suddenly felt a force jumping in his body. After looking at it, he was overjoyed. He immediately asked the 9-articulated Earth Dragon to guard outside the array, while he went all out to attack the 8th Yang Meridian. It was too timely. Everything was planned. He would go to the Tiangang world to find Bai Ling and Mu Chen, then recuperate and kill his way back to the Renhuang world. He did not expect to hear about the spiritual vein of primordial stones. He could not delay any longer. If the Xinyuan Empire was so angry that they destroyed the Renhuang world, wouldn't it be painful? For Su Fang, 100 Dao artifacts could not compare to the Renhuang world. This was the time when he needed strength. Previously, he broke through to the 8th stage of catastrophe. Now, he was about to successfully condense the 8th Yang Meridian. It seemed that everything was arranged by the heavens. All the Yang energy and true Qi were attacking the 8th Meridian, forming a jade-like meridian that was burning with a faint flame. Another month passed. Suddenly, an extremely sharp Yang energy flame flashed in his body. Zzz. After continuous vibrations, Su Fang immediately focused on the 8th Yang Meridian. It was no longer the normal color of blood and flesh, but a yang meridian formed by yang energy. Finally, the 8th yang meridian was successfully condensed. With every additional yang meridian, my physical body will be stronger by a bit. The energy in my body will also increase by a bit, and my overall strength will double. The 8th stage of catastrophe allowed my strength to reach the 7th stage of the feather transformation realm. Now that the 8th yang meridian is condensed, I should be at the 8th stage of the feather transformation realm. Combined with the junior commander and the divine might of my natal treasure, reaching the 9th stage of the feather transformation realm is not a problem. The 8th yang meridian had just formed and still needed to be nourished by yang energy. Observing the situation in his body, Su Fang had a general understanding of his current strength. Without using his natal treasure, Su Fang had an absolute advantage and could forcefully defeat an expert like the Elder. Then, he would meet an expert like Heartless Granny. Using the divine might of his natal treasure, he had absolute confidence in killing her. Even the stronger immortal Toad could not be defeated. This was the huge transformation of the overall body with an additional yang meridian. Moreover, with an additional yang meridian, he would have more space to cultivate the 9 Suns' 9 transformations. The speed would also be much faster than when he had 7 yang meridian. Therefore, the overall state of his cultivation was also very different from before. Even if he used the indestructible golden body and the Herculean divine palm, his strength would not be the same. After another month of continuous cultivation, Su Fang's 8th yang meridian stabilized and fused perfectly with his fleshly body. Then he began to work on his 9th yang meridian. My ability to surpass levels is getting more and more terrifying. It's all thanks to my yang meridian. The 9 Suns' 9 transformations really is incredible. Once I have all of them, I'll be 100 times stronger than cultivators in the same level. Maybe even stronger. Freakish. In Su Fang's opinion, he was a freakish freak. And all of that was because of his godly class energy art, the 9 Suns' 9 transformations. Even if his fleshly body was in the Great Circle, there was still a limit. But a godly class energy art could change everything, while a Great Circle fleshly body was just a foundation. The next time we meet, the Great Emperor Dipper, I'll definitely crush you. No, I refuse to believe that you'll be as strong as you were in a few decades. I hope you'll be as strong as you were in the past. Then when we meet again, I won't let you carry me away. I'll rip your head off with my own hands. I need a 9th yang meridian to be strong. Deep in his heart, he still wanted to be strong and knew that he couldn't compete with immortals. Chapter 692. Working with the Lord of 5 Poisons to the Renhuang world. Just as the 8th yang meridian was born, a familiar consciousness approached the Crimson Star realm. The Lord of 5 Poisons was here. With one more yang meridian, his overall strength had doubled, and his senses had also changed. He immediately came to the sky. The Lord of 5 Poisons was alone in a red robe with intertwined patterns on it. He teleported through the boundary of the world and condensed in front of Su Fang in an instant. Seeing the Lord of 5 Poisons again, he still felt the same as before. He was too powerful and could only be described as unfathomable. The two of them immediately came to the boundary. The Lord of 5 Poisons exclaimed when he saw tens of thousands of overlords. Many of them were almost as powerful as the elders. Kid, you don't know how difficult it is to build a force. How can you get so many overlords at once? Even the Doichi would need thousands of years to accumulate so many overlords and strengthen the foundation. You only took a dozen years. After a while, the Lord of 5 Poisons couldn't sit still anymore. He came to the side with Su Fang and said eagerly, "Finally, I see hope. The Renhuang world is yours. The Xinyuan Empire can't take it away." Su Fang's blood boiled. He wished he could grow wings and fly to the Renhuang world immediately. I still need your help. What do you suggest? The Xinyuan Empire and the Doichi are the sworn enemies of my sect. The sect has been established for more than 200,000 years. Since the beginning, the Xinyuan Empire has been suppressing us step by step. Later, it cooperated with the Doichi, making it difficult for us to free ourselves. Over the years, my sect has gained an incomparable understanding of the Xinyuan Empire. Just by relying on my sect or the power of the divine religion, it is difficult to contend against it. Only the foundation of a small world can suppress the Xinyuan Empire. The sect has been around for so long. When I was at my peak, the sect was several times more powerful than the Doichi, but it still failed to pass the tribulation with me. Within a few thousand years, the sect was suppressed by the two forces and was almost destroyed. This is the strength of the Xinyuan Empire. We will do our best to help you take back the Renhuang world, then move it to a galaxy far away from the Xinyuan Empire and hide it. From the beginning to the end, every step must be planned. Not only do we have to take it back, but we also have to settle it down in the shortest time possible. Otherwise, even if you take the world, the Xinyuan Empire will send an army to cooperate with the Doichi and take it back Renhuang world. Even the Xinyuan Empire. The Five Poisons sect master had explained everything in detail in front of Su Fang. Old Antique's vision allowed him to see things that ordinary cultivators couldn't. Don't say it. Su Fang really didn't think about how to deal with the Renhuang world after taking it back. He just wanted to take it back. At this moment, he was scared, and he was sincerely convinced by the Lord of Five Poisons. If he didn't plan how to settle the Renhuang world, the Xinyuan Empire army would suppress it, and the result would be failure. If you and I join forces to take back the Renhuang world, we are confident. Fortunately, the Xinyuan Empire has always thought that it was the people of the Five Poisons sect who stole the inheritance of the Renhuang world. The Lord of Five Poisons patted Su Fang on the shoulder. If you want to act, you have to act quickly and decisively. The longer you delay, the more inappropriate it is. Su Fang nodded. Well, I'll immediately order everyone to stop cultivating for a year. Immediately, he urged his thoughts to enter the minds of every suppressed expert. During this time, Su Fang introduced the Lord of Five Poisons to Green Feather King. When Qin Yuanho, Guangzhou Holy King, and other experts saw the Lord of Five Poisons, they were surprised and uneasy. A year later, except for Green Feather King, Li Ziqing, and Li Haojie, everyone else was sucked into the Dao artifact space. Including the Lord of Five Poisons, the five of them didn't use the heavenly ship. Instead, with the help of Su Fang's Dao artifact and the help of the Lord of Five Poisons, they flew towards the Renhuang world. About 3 years. The speed was more than 3 times faster than the heavenly ship, but it couldn't be compared to the speed of the shuttle. At least according to the plan, the 5 of them had already passed the Tianmong world, Zhenlong world, and Immortal Primordial world from the distant Star River. Sister Yu also led tens of thousands of experts, and they split up to fly towards the Renhuang world on the heavenly ship. In the end, it took 5 years. The 5 of them once again arrived near the empty Star River where the Renhuang world was located. From afar, the 5 of them could see the dust of the Star River storm, scattered or whole, solidified in the depths of the Star River. In addition to the Star River storm, there were some starry clouds, star sand, meteorites, and other spectacular Star River worlds. In comparison, the 5 of them were incomparably small, as if they could be swallowed by the Star River at any time. Green Feather King suddenly said, "The 2 of you have persisted in the Star River for several years, and you have consumed a lot of your magic power, Yang Soul, and True Qi. This time, let this king carry you across this Star River." "Peng King, how can we do that?" The Lord of Five Poisons refused on the spot. Green Feather King, however, although the supreme Peng race was a demon, the Peng race was the king of the demon race, and its strength was now comparable to the Lord of Five Poisons. Of course, the others were unwilling. However, Green Feather King insisted on doing this in order to save time. If they used the heavenly boat, not only would they be slower in this Star River, but there was also the possibility of being discovered by the Xinyuan Empire's spies in the dark. Green Feather King immediately transformed into his true body, which was 300 meters long. The four of them climbed onto his back, and with a flap of his giant wings, they flew towards the Star River dust at a speed close to teleportation. What a fast speed! The talent of the demon race was truly incomparable to that of humans. At this speed, even the Lord of Five Poisons was somewhat lacking. At the same time, Sister Yu led several groups of people to the nearby Star River. The Lord of Five Poisons had them wait at the periphery. Not long after, Green Feather King finally arrived at the periphery of the Star River dust. Su Fang could already feel the aura of the Renhuang world, as well as the aura of the sacred Emperor Divine Origin scripture from the Xinyuan Empire's imperial family. After entering the irregularly sized meteorites, fragments, and nebulas, Green Feather King finally transformed into his human form, and the five of them flew into the depths together. They were really worried that the Pling King's monster body was too huge and would cause a commotion if it collided with the fragments. This time, without entering the deepest part, they saw tens of thousands of people moving the Renhuang world from afar. Su Fang's body and mind tightened and his breath was cold. In 100 years, the Xinyuan Empire has moved the Renhuang world a lot. If this continues, it will definitely be moved out of this Star River dust in less than 1,000 years. The Lord of Five Poisons nodded. The Xinyuan Empire will definitely move the Renhuang world to the Divine Origin world. This way, it will be easier to control the two worlds together. In the future, the Xinyuan Empire, who will have two worlds, will definitely be the ruler of this Star River dust. So many cultivators as slaves. Li Haojie, whose cultivation and strength were lower than the others, was completely shocked when he saw this scene. Even Li Ziqing and Green Feather King breathed in waves of cold air. Fortunately, this Star River dust is still quite a distance away from the Xinyuan Empire's Star River dust. It will take a few years to reach it. The Xinyuan Empire also can't build a shuttle door in the Renhuang world. With so much dust blocking, the shuttle can't travel through it. Even if the Xinyuan Empire reinforcements are mainly relying on the heavenly ships, it will take at least 3 to 5 years for the army to arrive. Sect Master means that we only have a few years. Not only do we have to kill all the experts here, but we also have to move the Renhuang world out of this Star River dust within a few years. Yes, this is not easy to do. It seems that we have to plan everything well. From starting the war to moving a planet, it must be completed within a few years. Difficult. The few of them sighed. Following the gaze of the Lord of Five Poisons, everyone was also immersed in the scene. They imagined the next scene of fighting with the Xinyuan Empire and fighting with the army. Su Fang stared at the Lord of Five Poisons. There are nebulas on both sides of this Star River dust. The distance is not short. How can we move the Renhuang world quietly and hide it while the Xinyuan Empire is fighting? The few of them looked at the two sides. Indeed, they were both empty and cold star rivers. They were very far away. Even if they moved the Renhuang world there, it would be difficult to hide a small world. Now, the Lord of Five Poisons gradually frowned. We can only go to the back of the Renhuang world, which is behind this Star River dust. See if we can hide the Renhuang world deep behind it. Li Ziqing was helpless and also very confused. Sect Master, it was not easy to move the Renhuang world out, and now we have to send it back? Green Feather King nodded. I think Sect Master means to get the Renhuang world first and then move it to the back. We can also use the Star River dust to slow down the speed of the Xinyuan Empire's army. This will buy us some time. However, Li Ziqing still disagreed. If this is really the case, I will have to spend more energy and time to move the Renhuang world out of here in the future. The Xinyuan Empire has been unable to move the Renhuang world out for so many years. When the time comes, how much effort will we have to put in? Let's go around this Star River dust first, especially the back. Maybe we will find something. They had to figure out the terrain first. The few of them agreed unanimously and flew toward the Star River dust on the left side. They gradually passed the central Renhuang world and came to the deeper region of the Star River dust. Pairs of eyes immediately saw the Renhuang world. From the back to where the Renhuang world was now, there was a long, empty Star River dust in the center. A large amount of dust was crowded on both sides. It was very obvious that it could be seen with the naked eye. A month later, the 5 of them were about to pass through the Star River dust and came to the back of the starry sky. There was still a certain area of dust behind, but deep behind, there was an indescribably large nebula. The nebula was sparse and dense. Some places were sparse and some places were thick and overlapping. If the Renhuang world was moved into this Star River dust and into the nebula, with a large area of dust blocking it, it was indeed possible to hide the Renhuang world here. Even if the Xinyuan Empire found them at the end, it would be difficult for their army to pass through the Star River dust in the center.